you clicked on this video, I already know one thing about you. For the past 6 months, you've been seeing ad after ad for prediction markets. And like most people, you've probably dismissed them as rebranded gambling or another internet fad that would die off soon. But at some point, you probably noticed something, which is that prediction markets are seemingly taking over the world. Overnight, these things have become one of the fastest growing industries of all time. The CEO of JP Morgan Chase wants in. Wall Street is investing $600 million. Random everyday people are getting interviewed in the New York Times about how they made millions of dollars betting on Trump speeches and Kalshi. Hell, I just got off the phone with a reporter at Playboy magazine. I didn't even know Playboy magazine still existed. Interviewing me about how a guy I know makes over $50,000 per month right now, guessing what words Trump is gonna say in his addresses, or how this kid just made over $6,000 in January just exploiting price differences between Polymarket and Kalshi for the same bets without even having to know anything about what he's betting on. Spoiler alert, in this video, I'm gonna tell you the exact tools they're using to do this. But here's what you need to understand about what's going on with this industry. Every decade, some new shiny kind of trading breaks through before Wall Street catches on. Online stock trading in the 90s, crypto in the 2000s, now prediction markets. And I know this because I've been on the right side of this before. I was buying Bitcoin back in 2017, and I spent the next several years publicly documenting myself, making millions of dollars in that industry while 95% of the world called it a scam. And then a decade later, everybody loves crypto, the president loves it, and you can buy Bitcoin for $70,000 instead of $970, like when I found it. And I'm not telling you this to brag, I'm telling you this because prediction markets are in the exact same spot now that crypto was back in 2017. Getting into prediction markets now is like finding Bitcoin at $970, except this time it's poised to be 10 times as big as crypto ever was. Here's the problem though. 99% of people using Polymarket and Kalshi use it for one thing and one thing alone: gamble. They're betting money line on their favorite sports team, or at best, making blind guesses on whether or not Mark Wahlberg will show up to the Super Bowl this year. And they're turning what could be the biggest financial opportunity of a lifetime into a glorified version of gambling on DraftKings. And they're doing what every single retail gambler in the world does: losing money. But the fact that you're watching this video tells me you're different. You're not like most people betting on Kalshi. You just want to know one thing: can I actually make money with prediction markets, or is this just another scam? Well, I've spent the last year of my life not just trading these markets, but meeting dozens of the most profitable Kalshi traders on the entire planet, and even building software that's producing P&Ls and results like this. And I can confidently tell you that if you can commit to actually learning what I'm gonna go over in this massive video, where you'll hear not just from me, but some of the smartest and sharpest traders in the entire world.
A little over 2 years, I made over $500,000.
Made about $750,000 total.
That the answer to that question is yes. And as a matter of fact, I'm so confident that it is yes, that I'm gonna do something that no YouTube creator has ever done. If you watch this video all the way through to the end and you don't feel like it was worth your time, you don't feel like you learned something that you can use to go make money in these markets, I will reimburse you an hourly wage for however long it took you to finish this video. There is an email address below for you to request reimbursement with proof. I'm not kidding. That's my guarantee to you. Because here's what you're gonna get in this video. We have spent months compiling a single free YouTube video that is going to give you more legitimate and actionable insights than any paid course for trading prediction markets or trading anything for that matter that exists on the internet. What you're about to watch has literally been shot over the course of weeks. And the reason I'm making this video is because since these markets are so early, you currently have two choices. One, you can do what everyone else is doing, blindly gamble on these apps and lose money, guaranteed. Or you can actually take advantage of what I believe will be the biggest opportunity of our decade. You can become a smart analytical trader with a real edge, and you can bookmark this video and do whatever it takes to watch it all the way through. A few years back, I chose option 2 and my life has never been the same. So let's get down to business. This video is a true and full beginner's guide to prediction markets. We are going to go over first a full guide to the best prediction market trading setup. This is gonna be every single tool, website, and extension you need to get ahead of the game. A full beginner's course on prediction markets. I'll be explaining the nitty-gritty of how these things work all the way from zero and what a contract is, to more advanced stuff like order books, so that you actually know what it is that you are trading, because this stuff can be very confusing when you're new. I'm gonna be outlining something called expected value, the core concept that separates traders from gamblers in this industry. I'm gonna explain why these markets are inefficient right now and how you can take advantage of them. I'm gonna show you full recorded tutorials of myself using what I would consider the best tools in the prediction market space to make money live in front of you, so you can start doing the same. And I'm even gonna teach you how to build your own edge so you can go start trading these markets profitably after you leave this video. And to be doing that, I'm going to be interviewing, all within this single video, some of the most profitable Kalshi traders on the entire planet that have never spoken about this stuff publicly before. Every single thing that you need to go from understanding nothing about how to trade Polymarket and Kalshi to being an expert and succeeding in these markets is here. I'm even gonna equip you with a completely free community where you can meet other traders who are on this journey as well.
What has really helped me is finding kind of like-minded traders.
I always recommend having other people to talk to.
I'm putting together this entire masterclass for you guys for $0 and 0 cents. The only way we get paid for this, in full transparency, is by you guys using affiliate links to sign up for all the different partner websites and partner tools that I'm going to be showing you how to use in this video, or by you guys buying and signing up for the software tool that we have built to help you make money that I'm gonna teach you how to use. And since you're gonna need all this stuff to be so successful anyway, and since we're putting all this time and money into this video, into the tools that we have built to try and help you guys actually win in these markets, I've funded all this myself. I'd really appreciate you guys using the links in the description of this video when you go sign up for stuff. All throughout this video, I'm going to be showing you how to sign up for and use different trading websites, prediction markets, software tools that we have built. I think you'll probably want to use this stuff anyway, so that's my only ask of you. Onwards. So we're gonna go ahead and start this guide off with some setup. Now, all throughout this guide, I've taken you from zero to understanding and being able to successfully trade these markets. I'm going to be showing you different tools, different prediction market websites, and I'm going to walk you through in greater detail how to actually set up and use those later in this video. I don't want to spend too much time on setup right now. I just want to make sure that you have the basics created and set up so you can follow along with what I'm doing throughout this video. Now, if you're watching this on your phone, I'd just go pull out your laptop alongside this video. It's going to make it a lot easier to set all this stuff up. All throughout this video, I'm going to be continually referencing the Asymmetric Discord. This is our community Discord. That's a single place you can find links to all the tools that I reference. We have a full-time team of experts dedicated to educating you guys on this markets. We're sharing picks every single day. So I would recommend joining that and quickly going through the onboarding channels. It takes like 2 seconds. And here's where you're going to do the other basic setup step that I'm going to go through with you right now, which is creating a Kalshi account. This is the main prediction market that we are going to be using all throughout this video. It's linked beneath this video, or you can just click this little here button inside our Discord. And because I got Kalshi to give me a partner link, they will give you a free $10 to start trading with if you use our link as well. In order to get that, you just have to deposit $50 on the platform and take 1 trade, which is something that probably all of you guys are going to want to do anyway, because you can't actually learn this stuff without getting some skin in the game. You can use a Google account or any email you want to sign up. It's going to take you a grand total of like 30 seconds to set this up. Once you do that, there's like a million different ways to deposit. Card, bank, you can deposit crypto from any type of crypto. Again, I appreciate you guys using our link and depositing that 50 and making a trade. It's the only way we get paid off of this. Full transparency is that ref link. And you'll see everything else here. I won't spend too long explaining the server to you because it's pretty intuitive. You know, we have announcements, we have discussions on all different types of markets. We have a team sending out picks every single day, cooking for the community, as you can see in the community wins channel. This thing is jumping every day. Then down here, you're gonna find 2 other tools that you're gonna use throughout this video. The first one is ARBs, which allows you to find risk-free trades. This is our arbitrage tool, and we're running an insane one-time discount for the next 7 days for everybody who watches that video. You'll hear more about that. And there's Polygon, a copy trading tool that just allows you to copy trade the best traders on the planet on these markets. But assuming you at least have a Kalshi account set up by this point, let's begin. Welcome to the most fundamental part of this entire full beginner's guide, Prediction Markets 101. This is the part of the video where I turn you from a tourist to somebody who actually understands what is going on your screen while you bet on these markets. Because if you don't understand the mechanics of what you're actually trading, then you are in fact just gambling, and we're not here to gamble. We're here to find mathematical, predictable, and profitable edges. So what exactly is a prediction market and how do we do that? I'm gonna break this down as simple as humanly possible. A prediction market is just a place where anyone can place bets on what they think is going to happen. Very simply, it just allows you to bet on the outcome of real world events. If we scroll through the Kalshi homepage here, you can see people are betting on who will win the Masters, college basketball, standard sports stuff. We also have people betting on the outcome of elections. More general political outcomes like a US-Iran nuclear deal, whether Trump will be impeached, which seems to have 70% odds before January 1st, 2028. People are betting on purely cultural events. What will be the top global Netflix show this week? Who's gonna be on the cover of Madden NFL 27? Where will Taylor Swift get married? You can bet on the outcome of a variety of financial markets, things like what price Bitcoin will be at a certain time. You can bet on the climate, highest temperature in various cities or states, Fed decisions, CPI prints, US gas prices, what words will be said during various live broadcasts. This is a very popular category called mentions. A lot of you watching this have maybe seen my video with my friend Joel, popularly known as Prediction Market Trader, a young New Yorker making approximately $50,000 to $60,000 a month, simply betting on what words Donald Trump is going to say at various live events. You can see here that Trump is actually currently live hosting a White House Easter egg roll, and these are the live odds that he's going to say a variety of different words. So if you had bet no that he's going to say the word Melania before it went live, well, you would be up pretty big right now. And I'll explain how all these odds and lines and stuff actually work in a second if this looks confusing to you. So simply put, prediction markets are a place where you can try and gain expertise in a variety of real world events and bet on what is going to happen in the world around you. Except instead of throwing money at some sports book with rigged odds, you're just buying something called contracts. Oh, and spoiler alert for any of you guys who don't want to put the time in to become an expert in something and start trying to predict real world outcomes. Later in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make money by just exploiting mispricings and technical issues on these platforms by using something called arbitrage. But first, you need to understand how these platforms work. Contracts. Contracts are a name for the thing you are actually buying on Kalshi in order to bet on an outcome. For example, here I have pulled up the winner of the national championship. Michigan is the current favorite. So if I wanted to bet on Michigan winning tonight, I would have to buy what are called yes contracts for Michigan here on Kalshi. You can think of these contracts as me effectively walking up to a virtual booth and buying a ticket that says, yes, Michigan's gonna win tonight. Right now, because Michigan has a 74% projected chance to win this game, I can buy those contracts for 74 cents. If I am right, that contract that I bought for 74 cents will pay me out $1. That would make me about a 35% return on that money that I put down. And if I am wrong and they lose, those contracts that I bought for 74 cents will pay me out $0. I'll lose it. So if I were to bet $1,000 that Michigan State is going to win tonight, I would be buying 1,327 contracts at 74 cents each. If they won, those contracts I bought for 74 cents would now be worth $1 each, and my $1,000 would turn into 1,350. And if they lost, my 1,000 would be worth $0. But one key differentiating factor between this and sports books or just sports betting is that you can buy and sell these contracts at any time. It behaves more like a share or a stock. I mean, it's not a stock, but a stock than sports betting would. For example, if we thought Michigan was going to win the national championship back on March 21st, we could have bought yes shares for 18.8 cents. Now, Michigan has advanced further in the tournament. More people have bought those yes shares. The prices got driven up all the way to 74 cents, and I could sell those shares that I bought for less than 19 cents for 74 now for a 4x multiple on whatever I put in and walk away. I don't have to wait for them to actually win the national championship. Works in the other direction too, obviously. If it had gone down, I would have lost money. But something else you need to understand that a lot of people don't really get is the relationship between the cent price of a contract and percentage chances. So you can see as I mouse over the Michigan odds here, that's displaying a percentage chance, which is the percentage chance that they end up actually winning this game, or more technically, the percentage chance that yes shares end up resolving to $1 here. The percent and the price in cents are always the same. But what you need to understand is that Kalshi doesn't set these prices like a sports book. Nobody at the Kalshi headquarters is deciding what Michigan shares should cost. prices are determined entirely by where people like you and me and everyone else using this platform are putting their money. If a lot of people think Michigan are going to win, they're buying yes contracts, and that is driving the price up. You can see spikes here on the graph, likely from whenever Michigan has been winning games throughout the tournament. People see them win. Okay, now there's a better chance that Michigan goes and wins the national championship. I'm going to buy these shares. If people thought Michigan weren't going to win, they would be buying the opposite side of it, and that would drive the price of yes down and no up, because the yes and the no odds on what is called a binary market here on Kalshi, which is simply a market with two possible outcomes, either Michigan wins or they lose, is always going to total $1 or 100% odds. Yes and no have to equal 100%. 74 cents yes and 27 cents no means that based on where people are actually putting their real life money, which by the way is the single most accurate predictor of real life outcomes, which is why these markets actually knew that Donald Trump was going to win before it was publicly announced. That means that the crowd collectively thinks that Michigan has a 74% chance to win and a 27% chance to lose. This is why people call prediction markets a truth machine. You're not reading some pundit's opinion or trusting some talking head on the news about what's going to happen. You're seeing where hundreds of thousands of people are actually putting their real money. Because as it turns out, when people have to actually bet money on what they think is going to happen, they tend to be a lot more honest about what they actually believe. And when you get hundreds of thousands of people all over the world with an opportunity to make money if they are right about an outcome, it becomes a very accurate predictor of real world events. So if these Kalshi contracts are priced at 74%, we can conclude that Michigan probably actually has about a 74% chance of winning, because also, unlike sports books, these odds aren't designed to scam you and give you a bad deal, which is because Kalshi and these other markets, they don't care if you win or lose these bets like a sports book and like Vegas does, constantly trying to scam you and give you bad odds. You're not betting against the house. You're betting against other people online, and Kalshi is just facilitating these transactions. So even if you were just using these sites to gamble, which I really don't recommend, you're still technically getting a fair deal. Now, while we're on that topic, let's just address the whole Kalshi is gambling thing head on. Prediction markets are fundamentally different than sports books because they're more fair. On a sports book, you are betting against the house. They are always giving you unfair odds, and they're making money off something called the VIG, or the juice. It's essentially a hidden tax placed into every single bet that you take. For example, if a sports game was a real coin flip, 50-50 odds, then a fair bet would be even money. Bet $100 to win $100 on either side. But a sports book won't give you even money. They would price both sides at what is called minus 110, meaning that you would have to bet $110 to win 100. And they make that money on the spread. They're making money on you no matter what you're betting. A prediction market like Kalshi works fundamentally differently. There is no house, which means there's no VIG and no juice, and you're not getting scammed on your bet. You're trading contracts, which I just explained, against other people on an open exchange. The price is not set by Kalshi, it's priced by supply and demand of what other traders are buying and think is gonna happen. Prices reflect what people actually believe, and what people actually believe and bet their money on is a great predictor of real odds. Every once in a while though, people are wrong about the probability of an event. You can get an edge, and that's how we make money. I have a whole section on that later in this video. Anyway, more on the basics here. We're gonna move on here, but to summarize, prediction markets are fundamentally fair because the odds, which are determined by how everyone else in the world is publicly betting their money to push price up or down, are right in front of you. If something is considered more likely to happen, you will have a lower return on money if your bet hits, going from 74 cents to 100. If something is considered less likely to happen, you are taking more risk, but you return much higher. This would be over a 3x if no hits and Michigan State actually loses this game. If you're gonna understand how prediction markets work, you need to understand something called an order book. Because when you go to buy a contract on Kalshi, you're gonna see something called an order book, and you don't need to let this intimidate you. It's not that complicated. It's simply a market for contracts where on one side you have sellers saying, I will sell contracts for this much if you want to buy them, and on the other side you have buyers placing bids saying, I will buy contracts for this much if you want to sell them. So if price gets pushed up, all of those people who say they will sell contracts for certain prices are going to sell those contracts to people who are doing what is called market buying, which I will now explain. As an example, I'll use another market here for whether Donald Trump will be out as president of the United States before 2028. You can see that there are separate yes-no markets for different dates. August 1st, 2026, 2027, but here we're gonna use 2028. And we're gonna look at the order book for yes contracts. Price of these yes contracts is 30.5 cents. This above and below it, you can see we can scroll through this, is the order book. So let me break down what you're seeing here. The red above it here are sellers. Here we can see there is a total of $478 worth of contracts that people are willing to sell right now for 30.5 cents. Above that, there is another $962 worth of 30.6 cents contracts for sale, and so on and so on. So what this is, guys, is a visualization of how price actually moves on these platforms. Because what this means in simple terms is if I decided I wanted to go buy $478.55 worth of yes shares that Donald Trump will be out as president before 2028, or basically bet on Trump being ousted from office before 2028, then I would buy all of the shares that are currently for sale, and this is by any other users on Kalshi who have listed their shares for sale using something called limit orders, which I will also explain in a second. Then I would buy all the shares at 30.5 cents and I would push it up to 30.6 cents. And the percent odds on this line visualization here would move from 30.5 cents to 30.6 cents. That is a real life visualization of how price gets pushed up and down by people putting their money where their mouth is on prediction markets. Now, on the other side, the bids, we can actually see how price gets pushed down. So if I had bought shares of yes for Donald Trump being out before 2028 a while ago, I decided I no longer think it's gonna happen, I wanna sell these shares. Well, we can see that the amount of bids at 30.3, 30.2, 30.1, and 30 cents is actually a very small amount of money. So if I sold even just $1,000 of yes shares on this, you can see that I would actually push price all the way down to like 29.7 cents or 29.7%. So to summarize, people use something called limit orders to make asks, aka set the prices that they are willing to sell contracts for, and bids, aka announcing the prices that they are willing to buy contracts for if price goes down. And people who come on the platform and use something called market orders, another term you will hear used to refer to these people is takers, can come in, buy shares, and eat up those limit orders to drive price up, or sell shares and eat up those bids to drive price down. Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments. If not, I can do a million of these videos. Now, with all this said, we need to talk about the difference between using limit orders and market orders when trading on Kalshi, because one of them is almost always going to be better than the other and save you money. When you go to place a trade on prediction markets, you always have two options. You can place a market order, which literally just means I want to spend this much money on this kind of contract right now. I don't care what price you're giving me. I'll just buy up however many of these sell orders that I need to in order to get my money in. And you can place these market orders on Kalshi by just choosing the dollars or the buy in contracts amount. I can type in, I want to buy $100 of this and press buy. The problem with this is that on markets that have what is called thin liquidity, which just simply means less money on the order books or less asks and less bids, you're going to get filled at a terrible price. Now you can place market orders on Kalshi by choosing the dollars or the buy in contracts option. You can just go type in that you want to put down $1,000. But the problem is, as I'll show you now, on markets with what is called thin liquidity, your money's going to get put into this market at a price that you do not want. Here I have the order book pulled up for yes shares, and you can see that it is what is called very thin. There's less than $2 worth of asks at 47 cents, less than $3 at 48 cents. It's very thin, which means that if I wanted to buy $1,000 of this, even though it is currently at 45 cents, it would buy up all of these asks that you see on screen. My one buy would push the odds all the way to 67% or the price to 67 cents. And I would not get my money in at 45 cents. So if I wanted to get true 44% odds, I could only market buy like $10 here, which A, is a reason to generally avoid lower liquidity markets if you were trying to place larger bets. Now, some of you guys probably want to put down $5, $10 on a variety of things. That's fine. But if you use limit orders to place bids at the price that you actually want, you can avoid this problem entirely. So if I click here and I go to limit order, I can specify the number of contracts that I want to buy. Let's say 100 for this example. I can specify the price at which I want to buy them, let's say 45 cents. I can choose an expiration date on this bid, which means I can choose a time whenever I no longer want to have this bid open, although you can also just keep it good till canceled and cancel it whenever. And then as price fluctuates up and down on a market like this, it goes up, people start selling contracts and it goes back down. I can wait for people to sell their shares at the price that I actually want them and get all the money that I actually want to get in at the price that I wanted, instead of being impatient and just pushing price up and getting filled at a price. Now here's the disadvantage to limit orders. Let me just use the price chart from the same graph to show you. If at 10 a.m. today, I had decided that I wanted to place a limit order for 100 shares at 36 cents. Let's say I wanted to buy at 36 cents and price had just kept going up and 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 nobody had sold into my bids. Well, then I would have just got left standing on the sideline. Oh wow, look, this market just jumped from 40 to 64 cents. Maybe the temperature in Chicago just hit a high. I should have stood out there with the thermometer. While there are pros and cons to limit orders versus market orders, limit orders as you become a more advanced trader are going to be the right choice 90% of the time. All of this also ties into liquidity, which is literally just how much total money there is in a market. Big markets like presidential elections have an insane amount of liquidity. If we go to the order book for yes shares on JD Vance winning the presidency and I start scrolling through here, there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of asks and of bids. In this situation, you could put thousands of dollars in at a market buy and barely even move price and get filled at the price that you actually wanted to bet at. But if you're a more serious trader and you want to put even more money down on a position that you have tons of conviction in, or you just really want to get filled at the best price, or you think that maybe odds will dip a bit and then go back up, and you could get an even better price, then you'd want to set limit order buys here. As a general rule, I prefer higher liquidity markets because I just don't like trading things that if I put in like $10, it moves the price by 20 cents. That's not fun to me, but to each their own. Next, let's talk about all the different types of markets that exist within prediction markets. The first kind, and probably the most famous kind, is what's called a categorical market. And these are different than a binary market. At the core of prediction markets are something called binary markets, which are just markets where you can bet yes or no on a single outcome. Such as, will JD Vance win the 2028 presidential election? Yes or no. But that's a little binary market inside what is called a categorical market. And in a categorical market, instead of the options just being yes or no, there are tons of different options that people can buy yes or no on, all of which add up to 100% or 100 cents total. These are visualized by this very famous style of graph that you've probably seen before when looking at prediction markets. Here we have the percentage odds for the 3 leading predicted presidential election winners for 2025, JD Vance, Gavin Newsom, and Marco Rubio. So if on November 25th at 8 p.m., JD Vance is at 30.6% chance to win, that means his yes shares are trading at 30.6 cents. If Gavin Newsom is at 20.7% chance to win, that means his yes shares are trading at 20.7 cents, and so on. The key thing you need to understand here is that all of the different options on here are always going to add up to a grand total of 100% or 100 cents. Wait a minute. Stephen A. Smith is on here?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
All right, anyway, I think yes shares should be higher here. I would be a buyer at these levels. Later in this video, me and some of the most profitable Kalshi traders on the entire planet are going to be teaching you guys how to find and buy shares that are underpriced in order to consistently actually get an edge in these markets. I just got to make sure we cover all the basics first, okay? Now, where this also gets interesting, and I'm going to hint at something that we're going to go deep on later. When you have a big market like this with multiple options, each of those options with their own odds also exist in the same market on a different prediction platform like Polymarket. But because Polymarket and Kalshi have their own order books, sometimes the odds for the exact same market do not match. Now, another type of market to be aware of here on Kalshi is something called a range or a scalar market. And these markets, instead of asking, will X happen, yes or no, they're asking, what will the number be? Like this market for what the highest temperature will be in Denver today. And you can see that also, instead of betting on specific numbers, you are betting on ranges. So the market says, because yes, people bet on everything, that the highest temperature in Denver today will be between 65 and 66 degrees. 43% of people think it's going to be between 67 and 68. Each range has its own price, its own contract, and just like before, all the ranges add up to $1 because the number has to land somewhere. One of these brackets is going to be right. And one more thing before we move on, I want you to start noticing something. These same markets exist, like I said, on multiple platforms. Kalshi, Polymarket, they're offering contracts on the same events, but the prices aren't always the same. You can see here for Marco Rubio winning the 2028 presidential election, which by the way, has tons of liquidity in it. The odds for yes are 14 cents on Kalshi, and they're just 10.3 cents on Polymarket, which means we could buy yes on Polymarket at the same time as no on Kalshi, spend only 96.8 cents per share total and get paid $1 per share total, or in simpler terms, make a free 3% whether Marco Rubio wins or loses. So if we don't actually have to wait until 2028 when Marco Rubio wins or loses, because if I pull up one of the literal thousands of arbitrage opportunities there is right now between these two markets that you can find using our software called arbs.xyz that I'll teach you how to use fully later in this video. You can see that on arbitrage for the market of the top artist on Spotify in 2026, which you would think would not resolve until the end of this year, the odds for the same market on Polymarket and Kalshi have crossed over one another 14 times in the past couple months. Anyway, let me not get too ahead of myself. Just keep this in the back of your mind because later in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use a tool that scans these platforms in real time and finds situation where math almost guarantees you a profit regardless of outcome. But we got to walk before we can run. So now that we've covered the basics of how prediction markets work and how to navigate them, I'm going to transition this guide into a section of this video dedicated on teaching you the singular most important concept you need to understand that defines how people can consistently make money in these markets versus just gambling, and that is something called EV, or expected value. If you understand EV after this section, you will literally never look at a trade the same. Lock in, please. Expected value is just the concept of asking yourself one question. If I made this exact bet that I am going to make 1,000 times over the long run, would I make or lose money? That's it. That's EV. Would repeating this bet 100,000 times make you rich or make you broke? The reason why this question is central to determining whether there is expected value in a bet that you are placing is because you can make a bad bet one time, get lucky, and make money. If you make a bad bet 1,000,000 times, you're gonna lose money over the long term. The reason why everybody loses money over the long term to sports books is because they only let you place bad bets. Speaking of, let me explain expected value with something that all of you guys already understand. Sportsbook. So tonight, the Yankees are playing the A's, and the Yankees money line is priced here on DraftKings at minus 252. That would mean that you have to bet $252 to win $100. And if you do a little bit of basic math, that would mean that this sportsbook is pricing the Yankees as a 71% chance to win this game. Now, sports biases aside, let's say that the Yankees actually have a 72% chance of winning this game tonight. Would taking that moneyline bet at minus 252 be a good bet, something that would consistently make you money? Well, no, it's even at best. You have no edge. In order to have positive expected value on a prediction of anything occurring, we'd only want to place bets on things that have a higher chance of occurring than what they are actually priced at, which is why, again, sports gambling on sports books is a horrible way to make money. Because like I said earlier, in order to make sure that they make money, sports books aren't even giving you fair odds. So although DraftKings is saying with this minus 252 money line that the Yankees should approximately have a 72% chance of winning, they don't. They probably have under a 70% chance, and these books make you overpay to take your money. But don't take my word for it. Let's just toss a screenshot of these odds into ChatGPT and ask it to explain how this sportsbook is making you overpay regardless of which side you're betting on in this game. If the Yankees money line is minus 252 and the A's money line is plus 203, and we ask it to convert both of those money lines into implied probability that either one of those teams is going to win and add them together, it comes out to 105%. The sportsbook is adding in an extra 4.6%, and that is their edge. You overpay if you're predicting a favorite, you get underpaid if you're predicting an underdog. And this, like I said earlier, is how sportsbooks print money long term. It is impossible to make money doing this. Sports betting on sportsbooks is giving you the opposite of EV. Even if you were somehow an amazing predictor of sports, you would still lose money over the long term because you can't get EV because the odds are literally stacked against you in order to take your money. The house always wins. That is literally what negative EV means, and this is where prediction markets are different. And you don't just have to bet sports. I'm just using it as an example because I know a lot of you guys are probably sports betting fans. But there's something better. Watch this. If we pull up that exact same game here on Kalshi, the New York Yankees are priced at 68% when the odds are actually fair and there is no house edge, which means DraftKings is charging you an extra 4%. The odds of both teams actually add up to 100%, and they are being set by how people are choosing to bet your money, not by Vegas or some house. And there is no house edge. As a matter of fact, there is no house. No sportsbook is sitting in the middle, building in their cut and rigging the game against you. The prices are set by other traders, which means the prices can be wrong, which means we can find expected value, i.e. we can find a market that is priced at 40 cents or 40% that should actually be priced at 60 cents or 60% and make money on that bet over time. Even better, it means that traders on one platform can think that the odds are different than traders on another platform. We can take advantage of that fact, pay less than 100% on a bet that is guaranteed to resolve to 100% by buying yes on one platform and no on the other. Use something called arbitrage and make free money, which again, I'll show you in a second. Let me finalize this EV section and make this as concrete as possible. Let's say there is a contract trading on Kalshi for 60 cents or 60% for JD Vance saying the word affordable or affordability during his address that is literally live right now. Actually, these odds are moving. But you've done your research, you've looked at the data, you've analyzed JD's speeches, you've run your models, and you've concluded that there's actually an 85% chance that he's gonna say this word today, and traders betting on this are mispricing it. It's underpriced. So you buy this contract right here for 59 cents, knowing damn well that it should actually be priced at 85 cents. You might lose that trade today, right? It's not a guarantee. But if you found this exact setup, a contract priced at 59 cents that really should be priced at 85 cents, and took that trade over and over again every single day, you would be getting expected value and you would make money over the long term. If you're good at this, you will make a lot of money. People are doing this in different niches. Joel, who I had on the channel, is making $50,000 a month finding expected value on contracts for what words Trump is going to say in his speeches, finding expected value on contracts in political and social markets. You're going to hear later in this video from people that are doing this every single day and making mind-numbing amounts of money doing it. I'll show you rather than tell you, but what all of them understand is expected value. They're buying contracts for less than they're actually worth. That's the entire game in a nutshell. Gamblers take trades where they don't know if the price is right or wrong. Smart traders only take trades where they've identified a gap where the market price is lower than what reality says it should be. They become the casino instead of donating their money. And the only reason we're able to still find so much expected value in these markets and arbitrage them and do all this different stuff that I'm gonna show you how to do is because these markets are still so new and inefficient. Like, the prices are still wrong. A lot. Unlike the stock market where you have billion-dollar hedge funds and supercomputers fighting over every single penny and making them super efficient and perfectly priced and impossible to make money, prediction markets are still the Wild West, as you can see by some of the people we'll talk to later today. Most of the people betting on prediction markets are just casual bettors that are kind of trying to guess stuff off of vibes. So when a trader like Joel sits down and actually does the work, he actually looks at the data on what Trump said in his last 15 speeches. He's not even doing some crazy research. He's finding contracts priced at 20% every day that should be priced at 50 or 60. He's doing that over and over again. That is the whole game. The markets are brand new. They're full of people who have no idea what they're doing. The prices haven't caught up to reality, and you can actually just bet against other people who are less educated than you than trying to make money on a rigged sportsbook. The window to do this, by the way, will not be open forever. I bet it lasts less than like a year actually. But right now it's wide open. It's wide open in mentions, in politics, in social markets, even in, and it pains me to say it, sports. So at this point, you guys are probably asking, How do I find an edge and actually start making money? Well, there are many ways and it's different in every single niche. Like I said, I'm going to be interviewing literally some of the most profitable Kalshi traders in the entire world.
And I have made $160,000.
In this very video, having them share their strategies with you. But the truth is, one single video is not gonna get you there. That's why our Discord community is entirely free, not only because we're giving out picks of what we are trading in bets that we think have positive EV on a daily basis, but so that you can spend time around A, experts who are already profitably trading these markets, and B, other people who are on this journey alongside you and form those relationships. So make sure you've joined the Discord, but for the purposes of this video, I want to cover the most actionable things that you can start doing today to most easily make money in prediction markets today. So what I'm gonna do now is transition into a section where I'm gonna give you some tutorials on tools that anybody can use to start exploiting prediction markets for profit now, even if you have zero edge built. And the very first and most important is going to be a tool that allows you to do what is called arbitrage. This software is called ARBS, and it's a tool that my team and I built with one simple mission. Let anyone, regardless of their skill level, make money in prediction markets without having to be an expert at predicting anything. That's why we built an arbitrage tool and not something else, because arbitrage just lets you take advantage of mispricings and inefficiencies in these prediction markets to make almost risk-free money. This might not make sense if you don't understand arbitrage as a general concept, so let me quickly explain. This is gonna be really important to your success in these markets, so even if you're not interested, just watch this for a second. Arbitrage, in its most simple definition, is buying the same thing for cheaper in one place, selling it for more somewhere else, and locking in profit on the difference. People use arbitrage to make money in a lot of different ways. They'll buy sneakers from a wholesaler for one price and sell them to retail for more. They'll buy concert tickets in one city and sell them for more in another city where there's more demand. But far and away, the most interesting and profitable type of arbitrage is occurring in prediction markets. And there's so many opportunities for it. And in the context of prediction markets, arbitrage is just when the market lets you buy all possible outcomes, yes and no, for the same event for less than $1 total, locking in guaranteed profit without even having to predict an outcome in either direction. In prediction markets, every event settles to $1 total. Right now on this Kansas City versus Cleveland baseball market, yes contracts are worth 60 cents, no contracts are worth 40 cents. They add up to $1. If Kansas City wins, yes contracts will be worth $1 and no contracts will be worth $0. If they lose, yes contracts will go to 0 and no contracts will go to $1. Where arbitrage exists on prediction markets is when we can buy yes and no on the same event for less than $1 total, and our total cost per contract is less than $1 total to get paid out $1 per contract no matter what. So we're spending 90 cents to get paid $1 guaranteed, or we're scaling that up and we're spending $9 to get paid 10 guaranteed, or $900 to get paid 1,000 guaranteed, or 9K to get paid 10K guaranteed, and so on. But how could that happen if earlier in this video I said that yes shares and no shares on any given prediction market always total $1 or 100%? Well, it happens because the odds for the same event will sometimes be different on two different prediction markets, and we can take advantage of it. Let me show you what this would look like. Well, the ARBS AI just pinged us that there is a 6% difference between the Kalshi and Polymarket ads for which party is going to win the house race. And as you can see here on Kalshi, yes shares are 93.4 cents, but here on Polymarket, they are 86 cents. So what does this mean? Well, it means we can buy no on Kalshi for 8 cents, yes on Polymarket for 86 cents. Our combined total cost is 94 cents. And no matter what, we are going to get paid out $1 per share, whether this market resolves to yes or no. We don't have to predict anything or be an expert in anything. We can just take advantage of the fact that these platforms price things differently. And as I speak about this, maybe you see why it's such an urgent opportunity, because as more people come into these markets, this stuff will stop happening. But right now, there's effectively free money to pick up off the floor. Now, how much money can you actually make off of prediction market arbitrage? Well, before I was even sure that we would release this thing to the public, we had our beta tester Nick used this thing in private for 2 months and change. His recorded P&L for his first month was just shy of $6,000. On day 74, he clocked in at $16,027. I will not, cannot, and should not guarantee you any sort of results using this thing, but I will just let you listen to Nick describe his experience.
Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here and share my appreciation for the team and the product you guys have built. It's actually insane. I've been killing it with the tool. In just over like 2 months, I'm up almost 16K using arbs.xyz with such little time invested. It only takes up like 20 minutes out of my day. It's insane. I appreciate you guys, and thanks again.
Now, the reason why I'm focusing on this, even though arbitrage may seem like a far off foreign concept, I believe it's actually the easiest and best thing to do for people who are new to prediction markets.
Money-wise, I think I've made about 750,000 total on prediction markets.
It doesn't require you to bet that things are going to happen in either direction, so you don't have to spend time gambling your hard-earned money
Oh my god, dude, this has ruined my life!
on predictions that can swing in either direction. Even the best guys in the world have losing bets all the time. But this is a completely different approach that I like a lot better. So let's go ahead and jump into a full tutorial of how anybody can actually use this thing. There will be very detailed sections on each part, but let me give you a quick overview of how this thing works. The ARBS web app has a home page that acts as a place to find, sort through, and execute arbitrage. On the left side of the screen, there is a menu to choose which two prediction markets you want to find arbitrages between. In the top left, you can switch between our browse and our terminal view. Browse is more casual, terminal is more technical. On the browse view, you'll be able to sort arbitrages by percent spread, how much profit they offer you, volume, volatility, and more. Once you click into them, there will be a stats page, a details page, a strategy page, and an order book. I'll explain how to use all these later. There's a chart feature that you can use to see how many times an arbitrage has opened and closed on any given market, which I will also go into detail about. There's a calculator that allows you to enter in your wager that will automatically size out bets on both sides. You will then either be able to click buttons to go place bets on both of those markets, or turn on our single click execution, which is available for all of our annual members, and I would really recommend you try. There's a trading terminal view, but on top of this, there is a Telegram app that you can set up to just send you notifications for when arbitrages open up. You used to click 2 buttons to place an arbitrage by putting down a bet on both markets. That bot will then send you a notification whenever that arbitrage hits, and you can sell it. And using both of these things in tandem is what's going to allow you to actually consistently produce results with this thing. So now I'm going to walk you through the full setup for these tools and then teach you how to use it. So once you've signed up for ARBS by just going to the landing page and clicking sign up, I'd recommend the annual plan if you can, because it comes with 1-click execution, which I'll show you in a second. Actually setting it up is super simple. You get this full welcome screen. You'll just click continue. The first thing that you're going to do after you created your account is connect it to our Discord bot. Now this lives inside the Asymmetric Discord, which is completely free, and you've hopefully joined by now. If not, again, you can just click the link to join the Discord. There'll be a few channels up here at the top that you will click through to verify and get access to the whole server, and then you'll go ahead and scroll down to the verify-arbs XYZ channel. That's verify-arbs XYZ. Then all you're going to do is come back to this page, generate a code. You're going to click here to copy it. You'll click this button, it'll take you to our Discord server. Then inside the verified channel, you're just gonna click the enter code blue button right here. You're gonna paste in that verification code, press submit, and then you'll see here that your Discord account has been successfully connected to ARBS. Why do you want to do this? Well, it's gonna give you access to the exclusive ARBS member section here in the Discord. There's an announcements channel that the team and I are constantly populating with new features relevant to the tool that you're gonna wanna follow. There is an arbitrage alerts channel where you can be alerted in real time of all of the best ARBs that are popping up. There is a private chat for all of our members where you can ask me and the team questions literally anytime. And there's a private stage where we host live streams as well. Next, you're gonna need to connect Telegram. If you don't have Telegram, it's a completely free app. Just go download it. You're gonna, again, click the generate code button here. It's gonna generate you a code. You're gonna copy it here. You're gonna click this button to open our Telegram bot. You'll click the little open Telegram button here. Then here at the bottom, you'll click the big start button. You can click the connect arbs.xyz button here. And then all you have to do is literally go to this message box here at the bottom, press Command V, paste that, do the verify command with your code, and then you're gonna see that you have connected your account successfully. And in just a second here, I'm gonna show you how to properly set up notifications for ARBs to buy and sell notifications here on the bot. If I click check connection status here, you can see that it will check and come up positive. After that, you'll get walked through how to go and set up accounts on every prediction market that you need, primarily Kalshi, and then you're gonna get shown a quick video on how to take your first ARB. If you're on the annual plan, it's gonna show you how to take an arbitrage and buy both sides with one single click. If you're on the monthly, you're gonna get a different video, but either way, it's gonna show you how to actually get started, and then you can click a little button right here to open the app fully. Now I'm gonna walk you through the full process of actually finding, executing, and selling ARBs for profit. And in order to do that, I also need to show you how to set up notifications so that you can catch the most profitable arbitrages in real time. Good arbitrage opportunities open up and close very fast. People have a misconception that taking an arbitrage in a market like this one that we just saw right here on who will be the top Spotify artist for 2026 is a slow way to make money because it's going to resolve at the end of the year, when in reality, oftentimes these arbitrages open and close multiple times per month, week, day, or even hour. So we need to be fast. You can see here that I've already started getting notifications for new arbitrages since setting up the bot just a few minutes ago. But if you click this button here in the bottom left and go to settings, you're gonna be able to customize settings for your arbitrage alerts. The minimum spread is exactly what it sounds like, the minimum percent arbitrage that you wanna get notified for. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and prefer to set it to 5%. The minimum EV, which just means the minimum amount of profit that you can make on any given arbitrage, I'm gonna go ahead and set to a minimum of $100 here. And I'll explain a bit why percentage spread isn't equal to how much money you can make all the time. It has to do with liquidity and order books. Max in date, I like to keep on no limit. Minimum chart intersections is referring to the chart that we use to visualize the odds on any given arbitrage. So the green line you see on screen here is the odds for this market on Kalshi, and the blue line is the odds for this market on Polymarket. Whenever they open up and form a gap like right here, that means there is an arbitrage. You can see here that this same market is priced at 11.8 cents on Polymarket and 18 cents on Kalshi just a few days ago. And whenever these lines converge and cross over like they did right here, that means that that full arbitrage has closed and you can sell for the full profit. So if you want to add a minimum chart intersections, you can select exclusively for charts that have crossed over or arbitrages that have opened and closed minimal times. That would be if you have a preference for arbitrages that open and close pretty fast. I like to leave this off. And then each of these check marks that you see here is going to be all the different cross-market arbitrage options that you want to see. One's between Poly and Kalshi, Poly and Probable. These are all different prediction markets that you can create accounts on and connect to our bot. And then the very last option here, to hide the rejected AI status. This is just going to filter out arbitrage opportunities that our AI has decided are not viable. So those are the settings I like to have for notifications. So once you have your Telegram notification set up and you can receive those either on your phone or on your computer, there'll be a little button at the bottom there to click into the view on arbs.xyz option, and that will pull up our dashboard. Now I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through both ways to view the arbs.xyz dashboard, the browse and the terminal features, starting with browse. So here on the left side of the browse screen, you will see the ability to choose which two platforms you want to look for arbitrages between, Poly and Opinion, Poly and Kalshi, Poly on Probable, etc. I'm going to use Poly and Kalshi for this example. What you're going to see now on your screen is a list of different arbitrages that the ARBS AI is constantly scanning for between Polymarket and Kalshi. There's multiple ways to sort these. You can sort it by the largest percent spread, by the largest available profit, which is determined by how much liquidity there actually is in the order books, volume, volatility, or end date. I'm going to go ahead and sort by total profit here, and then I'm going to go ahead and click into one of these arbitrages to show you how they actually work. So I've pulled up this one for Josh Shapiro right here, and the first thing that you're going to see is the calculator. Now this is where you can go and enter in however much money you actually want to put down on any given arbitrage. This is the total amount that you're going to distribute across both Polymarket and Kalshi. It's going to calculate an expected profit or EV that you could squeeze out, an ROI percentage on the cash that you put down, and your cost basis. Now this is a pretty low percentage one that I'm just showing as an example. Sometimes these will go 5, 10, even 15%. Now remember that buying arbitrages is buying yes on one platform and no on another. You can see here at the top that is also telling you the total volume and liquidity in both of these markets and showing you in real time that these are priced differently. So you can see here that we would buy no on Kalshi for 94.7 cents and yes here on Polymarket for 3.7 cents to make $1 for less than $1 total. If you look down to the calculator section, you can see that it actually shows you what your total cost on both platforms is going to be. It's doing that automatically in sizing out the shares for you. For non-annual users of this tool, you're going to be able to just click to copy the number of shares to buy on each platform and click the button beneath it to go open up that platform. If I wanted to do it manually, I would just click here on Polymarket to copy the total cost. You can see that it's calculating in fees there. I would have market buy selected, press paste here, and I would click trade. I would navigate back, do the same thing for Kalshi, copy that total cost, click trade on Kalshi, make sure I have the right market open, paste in the number of dollars, and press buy. There is now a one-click execution feature, so if you click the one-click mode button right here, you will actually just be able to connect your Polymarket account and connect your Kalshi account and then click one button to execute a trade on both sides. I'm gonna get into how to do that in just a second. You will also be getting sell notifications for every single one of your positions to make it as easy as possible. Once the arbitrage closes, you can just get a notification and then go sell with one click as well. There's a few other things I wanna go over here on the dashboard though. Here in stats, you're gonna get a little bit more detailed breakdown of the arbitrage. So the AI is scanning the draw/tie risk here, as well as other forms of risk that you can read into. I would recommend, by the way, that here on the left side, you click into our guide and go read through this entire thing as well, because it's going to do an even better job of explaining this stuff than I can. On the details tab here, it's going to give you a full AI analysis of how it matched these two markets to be a good arbitrage, as well as a resolution and risk analysis. You can even read the rules yourself to make sure that they match up, because the largest and only real concrete risk whenever you are doing arbitrage on these markets is that they resolve in opposite directions. If you take an arbitrage by buying yes on one platform, no on another, for seemingly the same thing, but the rule sets are slightly different and one resolves to yes while the other resolves to no, you'll get wiped out on both positions. So you do need to always make sure that you are reading the rules yourself and making sure that you don't think that is going to happen before you risk any money on this. The strategy tab breaks down the entire AI workflow for how this arbitrage is getting taken. If you click on order book, you can see the entire order book and the liquidity spread for yes and no on both markets that you are looking to arbitrage. And most importantly, if you click on chart up here, you can get a full chart of the prices on both Kalshi and Polymarket. And like I said earlier, whenever these lines diverge, that space in between is how big of an arbitrage you can capitalize on. And when they cross again, that's when you can sell the arbitrage. On the stats page, there's also a volatility index that tells you how many times those lines have been crossing. That can be an okay indication of how fast you're going to be able to make money on this arbitrage. So that's an overview of the browse tab. Now let's talk about my favorite way to trade on arbs.xyz, which is the terminal. The terminal view is going to much more closely resemble a typical trading interface if any of you guys are actively trading crypto or day trading. We have the chart big here on the left. Beneath it is the same stats view, the same details view that I just outlined, the same order book view, but there is also a positions tab that I'll explain here and show you how to actually connect your Polymarket and connect a Kalshi account in order to take advantage of these one-click trades. I'm also going to take an arbitrage live in this video and then come back to sell it and show you the P&L. Now, right here on the right side is going to be the calculator section where you're going to be able to click once to buy and sell and then manage your positions beneath the chart down here. You will see there's a sell button right here when it comes time, but also right here is an all arbitrages button. Now, you can actually sort through any and all arbitrages that you want to take without ever leaving terminal. You can see here that you can choose which two prediction markets you want to look for arbitrages between. Just like on the browse tab, you can choose by percent spread, by total possible profit, by volume, volatility, and end date. And as you can see, if I scroll here and click on another one, I can sort by different time frames and I can pull up the chart here as well. There's also an all positions button here where you can see any and all positions that you currently have opened using arbs.xyz. Here are two that I currently have open on this account. If I click into it, it'll go ahead and pull up the chart. You can see it's just like looking at, different charts if you were trading something else. I'll show you how to read all this in just a second, but let me now show you how to actually connect your accounts. So if we click this wallets button right here, it's going to go ahead and pull up the connecting tools so that we can actually do one-click trades. Now, a couple things to note here, guys. Prediction markets have varying rules in different countries. You should only be creating and using prediction markets accounts that are legal and viable in your current country. It is on you to make sure that you are following the law. So operating under that assumption that you are in a jurisdiction where you can create and connect these accounts, here's how you would do it. If you have a Polymarket account created, you will just press this connect wallet for one-click trading button here. In my case, I created my Polymarket account with a Phantom wallet, so I will click that, although it doesn't matter really what wallet you use. So I've connected a test account here. Once you've done that, you'll see that it will actually pass through and track what your Polymarket balance is on that account. Then if you do have a Kalshi account, you can go right here to the account security button. Once you've done that, you can press create key here at the bottom under API keys. I will call this one example key. Have it set to read write. You press create. You can copy the API key ID here. You're gonna paste it into the top box here. Beneath that is a private key that you can copy here. You'll paste it in right here. You're gonna create a trading password, and you can choose how long you want this API key, or basically your pass through the Kalshi account to stay unlocked for. I have it set to 72 hours here. You'll press create account and unlock, and now your Kalshi account will be connected. So once you have your accounts connected, let's talk about what you see here in the terminal and how you can actually take trades. In the top right, you'll see it will display the balances that you have on your respective accounts. So I deposited here 300 USDC into my Polymarket, and on Kalshi, you can see that I have 663 total available funds and another 547 deployed on some arbitrages. Actually, it displays your total active positions as well. I took a couple example positions on this Polymarket account. So let's go ahead and take an example arbitrage. I'll pull up all arbs right here, and I'll start scrolling through until I find one I like. I'll take a small one just for example's sake here. So I have a nice 3% arbitrage here pulled up that I like, and if I want to open an arb here, I'm just going to go ahead and click this arb button. Now, of note is if you don't have the one click enabled, you can just go ahead and still copy and paste the total cost into Kalshi and paste it into Polymarket and manually execute those trades. I'm going to show you how to do it in one-click mode though. So let's say for example's sake that I'm just going to do an extremely small amount here, just show you guys how this works. $100, and you can imagine how this would scale up, right? Well, when I type that in, it's going to automatically size everything out just like without one-click execution, except now I can just press this buy both sides button, and I'll do that now. I'll have to confirm a transaction with Polymarket, and it will go ahead and execute these trades. Now, because Polymarket runs on Polygon network, it takes a sec to populate, and there it is. So what do we see down here in the position section? Well, first here on the left, you're going to see the average of what you paid on both platforms versus what they are now being priced at, as well as the average that you paid total on the combined arbitrage pair versus what it is at right here. Now, due to liquidity and things slightly moving, you can see that I am down like 1% here. That's fine because we just entered. It's going to show you the best ask and best bid, but what's really cool is that you can see the total P&L here. So that's how you execute and monitor positions. If you want to check all your positions on all different markets, you can go ahead and press this all positions button right here. Now I'm going to talk about how to read these positions for when it is time to sell here in the terminal in what is called our positions manager, in our Telegram sell notifications, and how to actually execute those sells. So when it comes to monitoring when to sell your arbitrages to ultimately lock in that EV, outside of using the Telegram notifications, your best friend, whether you're using the terminal or the browse view, is going to be the positions manager that you can click into here on the left side of the screen. Once you've opened that up, you can sort which two markets you're looking to view your positions between. For the case of this video, again, I've opened a few between Polymarket and Kalshi, so I have that open. There is a simple and a pro view. I'm going to start with the simple here. So you can see your total open EV. That is the total amount you would make if all of the arbitrages that you had open closed to profit right now. You can see your total deployed, your max payoff, and your active pairs. Next to each position that you have open, you can see its chart. You can see your locked profit. That effectively means the total EV that you will be able to squeeze out if you sell the position for full take profit. Your cost basis, your exit at the best current bids. And this is a great one to look at, for example, because this one is currently profitable, although it has not closed entirely. So I took this trade whenever there was a much wider spread between the arbitrage here. You can see now that these lines have started to converge and will likely cross entirely soon. So we'll probably have a full take profit. But here it still shows how much that I would make if I wanted to exit this position right now, which is almost 3%. Again, this was a tiny example trade that I took, but that's still pretty good. So let me show you what it would look like if I wanted to sell this. I'd click open on terminal here. I would navigate to the sell button right here. Here, since the arbitrage has not completely closed, the combined exit floor is not going to be 100 cents. So we'll bump that down to 97 cents since that's what the position manager told me I could sell at. Again, if I did not have one click execution on, I would just have to manually open this on Polymarket and manually open it on Kalshi, select sell, and make sure that I would just sell all of my contracts. But with one click on, on, all I'm gonna have to do is press sell 21 shares on both here. It's gonna go ahead and sell those. Now that has fully updated. Those are sold for profit. And now you can see that my all-time EV here on the positions manager has updated to reflect my captured EV. So that's what the process looks like. But if you want to streamline this even more, you can just turn on sell notifications and just get notified whenever your arbitrages hit and are ready to sell. So once you've opened some positions, which again, you can do by whenever you get notifications for an arbitrage you want to take after setting your custom settings, just clicking the open on arbs.xyz button here. You can set up sell notifications by simply entering in position settings. You can choose it from that menu there in the bottom left as well. Let me walk you through everything you're seeing on screen now. First is the exit price target. Now this is the minimum combined total price of an arbitrage that you want to sell for. So let's say you bought something for 95 cents total. Well, that would be a 5% gain or return on that arbitrage if the combined price of both those lines resolve to 100%. I described this in great detail as I was educating you guys on what arbitrage is earlier. However, like in the example that I just showed you, sometimes you might want to sell these whenever they get to 99 cents instead of waiting for them to resolve to 100. So there are some default minimum amounts you can choose from here. I like to press enter custom value and go ahead and set that to 99 cents total. This is just a more reliable way to get pings when I want them. I have positive P&L only because sometimes these arbitrage spreads will get wider before they resolve to actually be profitable, and I don't want to get pinged if I am in the red. Beneath that is the minimum sell percentage. Now this is in simple terms the total amount of your contracts that you want to be able to sell whenever you get a notification. So explained as simply as possible, as liquidity and price are impacted as the lines on Polymarket and Kalshi or whatever other prediction market move, and dependent on the total size of your position, you will be able to sell more or less of your total arbitrage. I would say the default 10% setting is fine here. Now, once you have that set up, you're just going to start getting sell notifications that look like this. You'll be able to just click the open on arbs.xyz button and then follow that exact sell protocol that I just showed you, and then use a position manager to see your total cumulative P&L and all of your other open arbitrages. Now, while I've talked about notifications, I'll explain some of the other features of the Telegram bot here. /status will show you the email you have connected to your account as well as the days remaining on your subscription. /all at any time will show you all existing arbitrage opportunities that match the criteria you've put in for your notifications. /positions_list is going to show you all of your currently open positions. It'll show you how much you paid in total versus what they are currently worth if you were to sell them right now. /all positions will show you all positions that are currently sellable according to your notification settings. And /help is just going to show you a little menu. Again, the reason why I think arbitrage is such a good opportunity for people who are new to these markets is because it doesn't require you to be an expert at anything or even predict what's going to happen, which is ironic in prediction markets. You're just taking advantage of mispricing. I am currently taking arbitrages every single day, going from 0 to 10K total profit on this thing publicly on my socials. Here is the progress that we have made publicly thus far. We already have countless users and community members giving us amazing feedback on what they've been able to accomplish with this tool. Ultimately, I just want to build the best stuff, and I want all of you guys to win in these markets while this opportunity is still available. So if you appreciate that, I would love for you to try out ARBS. With that said, I want to go ahead and transition into another tool, this time in the world of copy trade. So now I'm going to give you a tutorial for a tool called Polygon. Polygon is a prediction markets terminal and copy trading tool, which allows you to just copy the trades of profitable prediction markets traders. If you're not familiar with the practice of copy trading, which has become very popular in prediction markets in the past couple of months, it's just a practice of using tools to automatically tail the trades of whatever prediction markets traders you want. This is in essence a way to skip the learning curve and just steal somebody else's hard-earned trading expertise. And what this tool does is allow you to go find the most consistently profitable prediction markets traders and automatically tail their trades with as little or as much size as you want. Now, quick disclaimer here, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not going to make you a millionaire overnight, and there's no such thing as free money. These markets are inherently risky, and this is not like an investment account that's just going to magically grow over time. We're in the Wild West here, okay? But I've looked at a lot of different copy trading tools, and I've been tracking users specifically of this one, and as you can see, people have been on pretty wild runs depositing into this thing and using it to trail profitable wallets. And also, if you had used this tool to copy trade a wallet like this, or to copy trade a wallet like this, and catch these crazy runs these traders have been on, you'd be up right now. So let me give you a full walkthrough of how to set this thing up, navigate it, find the best accounts to copy trade, configure your settings, and actually start using this thing daily. So Polygon is a Telegram app, meaning that it is an app that opens up inside the Telegram messaging app. It's a completely free app. Most of you probably have it. Whenever you open it up, and there's a link beneath this video to do so, it's free, you're gonna click the start button at the bottom of your screen, and then it's going to bring you to the welcome to Polygon screen. Your available balance at that point is going to say 0, and in order to use this thing at all, you are going to have to deposit the funds that you want to trade with. In order to do that, you'll just go to the wallet section, and then you can deposit crypto on any chain. So you can send it from an exchange or from a wallet. If you have one, you can send it on the Polygon, the Solana, Ethereum, BNB, or any other network. It's going to automatically bridge those funds into your account once you do so. So if I wanted to send USDC on Solana or just Solana on the Solana network, I just click here, copy it, and then I would just go to whatever wallet or exchange I'm sending the funds from, click send, paste in that address. For this, I'll just send like an example transaction of like $1, and then you'll be able to see that in your available balance shortly. Now, because Polygon is technically a full prediction markets terminal, it does have a full market section that is just going to allow you to go trade any sort of market like you would on the actual prediction market website here within the Telegram bot. So that is a nice convenience feature they have. And whenever you open any of those positions, you'll be able to see it here within the portfolio section. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the copy trading part. So before you start copy trading, you're going to need to find smart wallets to trail. Now, me and the team inside the Asymmetric Discord are sharing traders that we like to follow on a weekly basis. And inside our community is a really good place to talk to other people about what wallets they are trailing and work together to stay ahead of the curve. But within Polygon, there is an actual just smart wallets feature that you can click right here. And what this is going to do is pull up the currently most copy traded traders on the entirety of Polygon. It's going to show you how many people are copying them. It's going to have a description of what type of markets they're trading, what their weekly P&L is. So this guy's up almost 30% this week. It'll let you view their account on Polymarket as well. This is pretty crazy. This guy is up almost 40 grand in the past month alone. I should have found this dude back in January, but anyway, you can use this function right here to start finding wallets to copy trade, and I'll show you how to actually start copy trading them here in a second. If you click the view more smart wallets button, it's also going to open up a full doc that the team seems to have assembled where you can go find different wallets. But also really useful is to click this Polymarket analytics button right here, because this is an extremely detailed dashboard of all the highest P&L traders on the entire website of Polymarket. Here you can go sort by exactly what markets they're trading. So let's say we wanted to find wallets that are trading only Bitcoin markets. Then we wanted to go ahead and only follow people that have a win rate of 50% or higher, and somebody whose total wins are greater than $100,000. Well, I could go ahead and apply those filters, and then we're gonna get a new list of traders. So if I scroll down here, we're gonna find somebody who has a 61% win rate, for example, an overall P&L of $720,000. I wanna see a little bit more about this guy. So I can click into him. It'll show you all his current positions. I can also just click right here to go look at him on Polymarket, and I can see that this guy in the last month alone is up almost $200,000, and over time has had a pretty nice run, although we can see that he's had a drawdown pretty significant here from the end of January to mid-February. So again, guys, it's not like this is an infinite money glitch, right? You're copy trading other people who you know almost nothing about. So let's say I wanted to go ahead and start copy trading this guy. Well, for any wallet that you want to copy trade, you just need to get their wallet address. There's a copy address button right here. Then inside Polygon, all you need to do is click this copy trade button here on the home menu. You're going to press the add copy trade button, and now I'm going to walk you through the steps you have to take. The first thing you need to do is paste in that wallet address. Now, you don't always have to paste in the address. Within the Polygon app, there are just features where you can click a single button on profitable traders, and it's going to automatically cover this step for you. But once you've pasted in that wallet address, it's going to take you to step 2, which is giving this trader a nickname. I believe this guy's name online was King of Coin Flips. I'm just going to call this one King. Next is a very important step, which is how your copy trades should be sized. So let me walk you through these 3 options. The first is fixed amount. If I choose fixed amount, I am going to use the same amount of money out of my deposited balance to put down on every single trade that this person takes. So if this guy decides to put $5,000 on an Iranian ceasefire by April 31st, I'm gonna copy that trade with a fixed size of my own. That could be $10, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever I choose. If he takes that trade with $1, I'm gonna copy that trade with $10 of my own or whatever I choose. The second option here is a percentage option. This is going to allow you to automatically copy a set percentage of every trade that this trader takes. So if I set that to 50 and they take a $1,000 trade on one of tonight's basketball games, I'll copy that trade with $500. If I set it to 10%, I would copy that $1,000 trade with $100. This is an interesting option, but it's gonna kind of depend on how big of trades this person is taking. They might have a much larger or a much smaller portfolio than yours, which brings me to the third option here, which is portfolio weighted, and what I'm gonna use here. This allows you to copy trades based on how large the position is relative to the person you are copying's total portfolio. And I like this option. What it means is that if the person that you are copying puts 10% of their total portfolio or the total amount of funds that they have deposited on that prediction market on a trade, well, you will put 10% of whatever your portfolio is that you have deposited on Polygon to copy trade. So if they have 10K deposited and they put $1,000 on a trade, that's 10% of their total balance, which means that if you had $100 on Polygon, it would put only $10 onto that trade. And I like this option because if you think that the person you are following is actually a skilled trader that understands how to size trades, this is gonna automatically follow their sizing. So that's what I'm gonna use here. Within that setting, it allows you to set a proportional value to multiply up or down that portfolio percentage versus what they are doing. I'm gonna keep it on 1x. Step 4 is the max dollar amount that I am willing to risk per copy trade. Now I have $1,000 total deposited in this example account. Now I'm gonna be loose here and just hit no limit, but you could easily do $50, $100 if I didn't want to do more than 10% of my $1,000 portfolio. Step 5 is going to be setting a price range for the trades that I want to follow. This means that I will only copy trades if he is buying contracts within this certain price range. So if I didn't want to follow any trades that he is taking at higher than 90 cents or lower than 10 cents, I could. Here, I'm typically just going to choose the 2 to 98 cent option just to rule out if he's putting down a ton of money on a 99% trade to just try and squeeze out about 1% on a low risk trade. That would be called a bond in prediction market, and it's something I'm not really interested in when it comes to copy trading. Step 6 is going to be to set a slippage tolerance. Now this basically just means the max amount of price impact I am willing to accept when I'm copying a trade. So if I chose 5%, that means that I would not want to copy a trade that when I copy it, it pushes the price up by 5% or more. This would typically just happen in lower liquidity markets, so I'm going to choose that 5% option. And then step 7 is going to be setting an automatic take profit and stop loss for every copy trade buy. This would allow me, for example, to take profit on any trade that I copy that is up 20% or 30% or whatever percent that I wanted from my initial trade. They even have presets that you can use in here. I personally don't really care that much about using a take profit. Although if you wanted to take a stop loss and say that you want to cut any trade that is down by 10% or more, you definitely could. I'm going to go ahead and skip it here because I want to copy this person's whole strategy and let them buy and sell. Then all I'm gonna have to do is press confirm and I am good. You can see that I now am officially copy trading this wallet. If I click the manage copy trade button, I can go in and change all of those things that I just set up. I can change the mode, the price range, all those settings I just chose. If I go back to the main menu and I click the copy trade button, well, I can see every different wallet that I am currently copy trading. I can see how much money I've made copy trading that on the day and also my all-time P&L trailing that wallet. That activity button is going to show me recent trades of theirs that I have followed and the outcome. And then one other thing that I want to point out here is actually going to be the referral section. Now, the way that Polygon makes money is by taking a small fee on every trade in their terminal. And what they actually do is allow you to refer other traders and they'll pay you out a percentage of all fees that they collect in perpetuity. So if you're going to be using this thing, you can actually go and refer friends of yours or other people online if you have some sort of personal brand. We're using the referral link underneath this video. It'll deposit those funds directly into your account automatically, and then you can go use those to trade if you want, which is pretty cool. And you can literally just copy and paste the link right here and send it to anybody and they can just log in and they'll be an affiliate for you. That's the overview. I think Polygon is an exceptionally useful tool and the single best Telegram trading terminal that exists in prediction markets right now. The link to go use it again is going to be beneath this video. In my opinion, if you set up just these two tools, arbs.xyz and Polygon, both of which are linked directly beneath this video, you have more than you need to seriously get started building doubling your bankroll in these markets. So at this point, I wanna go ahead and transition into the next section of this video. What you're about to watch is something that took me months to put together, because in order to put together a full comprehensive guide on how to build an edge in prediction markets, I had to go out into the field and actually sit down with 5 of the most profitable Kalshi traders on the entire planet to get them to give away their secrets. It's actually taken me so long to put together that I moved in the middle of shooting this video and I started growing my hair out. But anyway, we spoke to Joel, or prediction market trader, an ex-CPA who quit corporate America and now makes over $50,000 a month betting on what words Trump is going to say in his speeches. We talked to Logan, a 26-year-old who turned $30,000 in deposits into over $750,000 in under a year.
Made about 750,000 total on prediction markets. Most of that being in the last 7 months.
Including a couple 100x trades where he bought contracts for 1 cent that resolved to an entire dollar that we're actually going to go into detail on later in this section. We spoke to Gayton, a humble dad in Minnesota who has made over $1.2 million modeling political and Rotten Tomatoes prediction markets. He's betting on how well movies will perform, among other things.
Probably around 1.2 million total.
We spoke to Brandon, who I know you guys will find inspiring, an elementary school teacher who has made over $160,000 on prediction markets using nothing but the calculator app on his iPhone and a borderline obsession that he's had over music chart performance since he was in middle school.
I am a teacher. I have made $160,000.
And we spoke to Loxy, a kid who spent his first 6 months on Kalshi losing money until he got called a horrible trader by somebody at Kalshi themselves and turned it around into over $90,000 of profit.
Currently, I'm 90K up all time.
Now, all of these full-length uncut interviews are going to be posted inside our Discord to watch for completely free, but what you're going to get in this video is a broken down, distilled playbook. We've done the research, broken down what all these traders have in common. Also, I can break down for you why certain specific types of prediction markets are beatable right now and which ones to avoid because the sharks will eat you. The exact framework that the world's most profitable traders are using to get an edge, a combination of data and something that they call vibes, and the tools and techniques that you can learn to build your own today. Specific trades that will blow your mind and show you this stuff in action, including multiple 100x trades from Logan and Brandon making $30,000 on a single trade as a school teacher because he checked an artist website and did some math on his phone. And all of the most important advice these traders gave to get started and become profitable in these markets so you can leave this video and start today. But don't leave yet. Let's get into it. The first thing that I asked every single trader is what kind of Kalshi markets they were actually making money trading. Joel trades mentions, or more specifically Kalshi markets where you can bet on what specific words are going to be said during a live broadcast, and he's currently making over $50,000 a month doing that. Logan trades everything from Trump mentions to women's Olympic curling to who he thinks is going to win the cover of Time magazine. Basically a variety of both mentions and news-based events where he thinks the market is sleeping. Gayton trades politics, Rotten Tomato scores, and music markets, and he's made over $1.2 million doing it. Brandon, the school teacher I mentioned earlier, trades music markets exclusively. Billboard charts, album sales, Spotify numbers, all from his phone calculator. And Loxy, like Joel, is trading mentions as well, across the board. Trump speeches, Caroline Levitt, NBA, whatever's live. And he's found his edge using AI to analyze past transcripts, which I will show you how to do. Basically, all these guys are trading either mention markets or a variety of culture-based markets. That is, markets on music, movies, politics, but the pattern among all of them is very clear. They're avoiding markets full of sharp traders with tons of money that are using fancy algorithms to beat them. Think sports, crypto, weather, financials, and dominating in culture, politics, mentions, places where human intuition still have an edge over robots and algorithms. And I'm talking to you. degenerate sports bettors, because these guys are not hammering money line on their favorite basketball team. They're going to markets where they can actually find expected value, which is possible specifically in these markets because, like I said earlier on Kalshi, you're not betting against the house. You're betting against other people online, and specifically in niche markets like what words Trump's gonna say.
Every speech is a little bit different, right? Is Trump giving the speech in the Oval room? Is he giving the speech in a briefing room? Is there Q&A? Is there no Q&A?
Or when the Louvre robbers will be captured.
I did well on like the Louvre heist robbers, the date that they would get caught. I researched that and traded it. So any market that sort of pops up and is getting a lot of attention, I'll try and trade that.
There's just way more room to become a better trader than the average person and squeeze out expected value and profit over time. But you're not gonna build an edge by trying to trade every single market under the sun at once. And when it comes to choosing what kind of market you actually want to build an edge in, well, there's one factor that is far more important than anything else.
I would sneak my phone at the resource period in middle school, and I would watch Billboard announce the top 10 songs live, and I would try to predict what songs were going to be number one. So I have 12 years of experience in this niche field that I was doing just for fun that now I can make money off of.
So I trade based on stuff that I like. Because I had an interest in it, it was very easy to convert that interest into a money-making hobby.
I like financial markets, and then I also like learning about all sorts of random stuff. And so being able to just go learn about a ton of stuff, trade, and make a living doing that is a blast for me.
You don't need a finance degree or a fancy algorithm. You just need to get obsessed with something, or at least into something. Let's break down a few of our traders to drive this point home. I'm gonna return to Brandon because he's such an insane story. Brandon has been obsessed with music charts since the 8th grade. In our interview, he told me that he used to sneak his phone out during study hall in middle school to watch Billboard announce the top 10 songs live on YouTube. He had his own YouTube channel back in the day where he would rank the top 10 songs every week. He's been tracking streaming numbers, radio play, all this stuff for 12 years just for fun. And now, as a full-time elementary school teacher, he's been able to turn his random niche interest into over $160,000 of profit online by just weaponizing the interest that he already had.
I'm not like a finance guy at all. So like I don't have any fancy models or anything. I calculate everything in the Notes app on my phone. I'm not fancy or anything.
Gayton, who's just a regular dad from the Midwest United States, you can see where he FaceTimed us in from, just loves politics and finds it super interesting. He said this stuff doesn't even feel like work. He just gets to keep up with news that he likes, and because he watches it all the time, he's better at predicting outcomes than the average person that he's betting against.
Some of this stuff takes a lot of time, some of the analysis takes a lot of time, and if I wasn't interested in the subject matter, I don't know that I could sustain that for that long. Being that it's stuff that I enjoy doing, then it makes it seem like it's not even work.
But you don't even actually have to have some super crazy obsession to be good at prediction markets. Look no further than Logan, who's actually one of the most profitable people that we even spoke to. This guy doesn't even actually have just one niche. He's just obsessed with studying random stuff online and figuring out how to price it, and it's working. He explained to us how he made over $20,000 in 1 week on women's curling during the Olympics, a sport he had never watched before in his life, just because he figured out that nobody else would even bother trying to price it correctly on Kalshi.
Women's Olympic sports I found were pretty mispriced. I made a good amount of money trading women's curling during the Olympics, which I had never watched curling before. I was like, let me pick the most obscure sport that I think the least amount of people will be trying to price. And
how much did you
just
make
gave
on
it a shot?
curling?
Like 18 or 20 grand, I think, in like 2-3 days.
The point is, prediction markets have created something that has genuinely never existed before, an opportunity for regular people to take whatever weird niche interests they have and actually use them to make money. You might think this is a pipe dream. If you do, just go watch these interviews. And the reason why this is possible now and probably won't be possible forever is because these markets are so new and so inefficient that you don't need a PhD or a Bloomberg terminal to get really good at trading them. You don't have to outsmart the Vegas odds makers. You just need to care more than the person on the other side of your trade. Which is great news for you if you're watching this and thinking, oh, but I'm not an expert at anything, because the bar for winning on here is actually pretty low.
Right now in prediction markets, like you can be some nobody out in the Midwest and and you can make a ton of money off of this. And your credentials don't matter at all for something like that. It's just like, if you're creative enough to do it, you can be an 18-year-old high school dropout and still make a ton of money doing it.
And ultimately, the reason why these markets are so beatable is because a lot of the people that you are trading against are very casual with little to no knowledge. They're just on here flinging money at whatever.
Sometimes when you have markets that gain this mass appeal and they go to a completely whole new audience, they can actually be even more inefficient than
Like
smaller
the Super Bowl,
markets.
right?
Exactly. Just 2 weeks ago, Trump gave a primetime address on Iran to the whole nation. It was talked about everywhere. The market did over 10 million in volume, and it was extremely mispriced.
So after talking to a bunch of people that actually do know what they're doing on these markets to the tune of multiple millions of dollars in profit, let's talk about what they are doing so that you can steal it. And there's really two pieces to this equation. First, I'm just going to tell you a bunch of the tools that they are using. We're gonna break down this section by telling you which tools are better for which different markets. And we're also gonna tell you how they are learning to read the vibes of any trade, which is really just a word that all these guys use to describe becoming an expert at predicting stuff outside of just using data. And remember, if you want to just get a list of all of this stuff, I'm going to publish it inside our free Discord community. Now, I'm going to go market category by market category here, and we're going to start with the best tools to build an edge in mentions markets, because 3 of the 5 traders that I interviewed, Joel, Loxy, and Logan, are making the lion's share of their money trading mentions. And the way that all 3 of them describe their process is really like a different version of the same thing, which is using tools like the ones that I'm going to show you now, looking at the data, getting a baseline projection of what odds for any mention should be, and then layering in something called vibes, which I will teach you how to find after this tool section. But let's start with the tools. The first one that these guys mentioned is a free tool called Roll Call. And I'm starting with this because it is free, although it requires you to do a little bit more work to use it. Now, what makes Roll Call really useful as a tool for trading prediction markets is that they transcribe every single live Donald Trump appearance. Like if you scroll through here, it is literally every time that Donald Trump speaks live on air. This is important because what it's going to do is give you the ability to run numbers and run data on how much he is saying different words. If I wanted to get a transcript for Donald Trump's recent roundtable on taxes, I just click that button right there, and as you can see, you're gonna get a full transcript, you're gonna get a bunch of visualizations to go along with it. And Joel actually calls this his #1 tool for people who are trying to get into trading mention markets.
Roll Call.
It's basically a database that you can use to go model out the probability that Trump will say any one given word. And I'm gonna show you in a second some other actually paid tools that are gonna do a lot of this stuff automatically, but if you wanted to keep it super low budget, you could actually use Claude Code in combination with this tool in order to start projecting mentions odds and start building your edge. When I interviewed Loxy, he talked about doing this, basically just using Claude Code to scrape a bunch of old Trump transcripts off the internet, comb through them, and project out the likelihood of words occurring in his next speech. Now, the numbers that you get are not gonna be that useful without applying the vibes. I know I keep repeating that. So at the most basic level here, what you could do is go manually download a bunch of old Trump speeches and just import them into Claude. So for example, there's a Trump mention market happening in a couple days on April 25th at a White House Correspondents' Dinner. So if I went back over to Roll Call, went and manually downloaded every transcript that I could find for a correspondence dinner that he's spoken at, if that's something that he's done before, and simply ask Claude, hey, what percentage of the time does Trump say the word tariff at these correspondence dinners? I would get a number, and maybe it would be somewhat accurate, but what I could do instead is actually use Claude Code. So let's say I said, build me a Python script that downloads Trump speech transcripts from Roll Call, that free website, stores them, and lets me search for any word with hit rate percentages. Of course, I'm gonna use Opus here. Here we go. Look at this, by the way, guys. If you still thought coding was hard in 2026, I did not plan this for this video, but watch what it's gonna give us. And there we go, let's see if it works. Now with like 5 more minutes of tinkering, I could probably build a decent app that could literally just project out the percentage of speeches where Trump has said any given word, and I could use that in order to make a base case for whether I think certain mentions are underpriced or overpriced. But if you want to skip that entire process and just use a tool that does a lot of this for you, you can use mentionmarkets.com. Now, it is a little bit more expensive at like $200 per month, which I understand if you're just getting started, you might want to spend on. And we do have people in our community that are building, custom Claude Code tools. You could probably just go chat with somebody in there. This is probably what I would consider like the industry standard though. This is what PMT or Joel is actually using personally. I saw him using it when I was with him IRL at his apartment prepping for a Trump speech. And the amount of stuff you can actually do on here is pretty crazy. So on this website, it's very interesting. They have like every single different category of popular mentioned markets. So it's not even just Trump speeches. They have markets for earning calls, NFL, Federal Reserve meetings. So for example, Trump has a White House Correspondents' Dinner in a couple days on Saturday, and there's already a lot of volume coming into this market. So if I wanted to try and make a projection in this market for any one of these words, let's say the word tariff, well, I could sort by Trump speech, sort the speaker down to Trump himself. I could go make sure I'm choosing events that are only relevant to the type of speech that he is giving. This is the demo version, so there are versions with much more data. I could go search for the word tariff, and we would find out that in 85.7% of Trump's speeches since January 1st, he has said the word tariff. And it's even going to give us a little visual graph for how far through the speech he's typically said any word that we are searching for. It's going to export transcripts from all of the speeches that we are searching for, and you can go super deep with this stuff. So funny enough, despite the fact that Trump has said the word tariff in 85% of his speeches this year, the word tariff is only priced at 55% right now on Kalshi for this upcoming speech. Now, like I said, the data alone isn't going to tell the full picture, but if we were just looking at the base case numbers that we got from mentionmarkets.com, we might begin to think that, hey, we might be able to squeeze out some expected value here on this trade. And you can actually use this thing to get context on the sentences where these people are actually using these words. And that's something that Loxy, who we interviewed, actually uses as a core part of his strategy. For example, when I was interviewing him, he explained a situation where another politician named Caroline Leavitt was giving a press briefing, and the odds that she was going to say the word God or Allah was priced at 20 cents or 20%.
Caroline Leavitt was doing a press briefing, her last press briefing. There was a word that you could place money on that was God/Allah, and it was at 20%.
But by going and using mentionmarkets.com to search through previous Caroline Leavitt speeches and actually reading the previous transcripts of this woman speaking and paying attention to what the general news was at the time of each of these transcripts, he was able to figure out that when there's been a recent tragedy in the news, she has a tendency to say the phrase, God bless you.
I use Mention Metrics and other tools to search Caroline Leavitt transcripts in the past. And I did see in past press briefings, she would say, God bless you, when there was a tragedy.
And on that day, there had been a pilot rescue and deaths in Iran. And I'm going to talk about how to aggregate news on Twitter and stuff to be aware of things like this in just a second. And because he was aware of this context, which he learned by actually reading the transcripts on mentionmarkets.com, even though the actual percentage of time that she said that word on mentionmarkets.com was close to 20%, he was able to use the vibes, which I'm going to talk about more again in just a second, and determine that 20 cents was way too low. She ended up saying, God bless their families in the speech. He hit a 5x on a trade that took maybe 15 minutes of research. But how I would actually use this thing for any mention market would be to just look who the speaker is. In this case, it's Trump. Go find a term like stock market. Make sure you choose the right type of event for that person. In this case, it's a Trump speech. But if it was a press conference or an interview or a vlog, then I would check that off. I'm going to check only the most relevant speaker. I'll keep events on all, and then I'm just going to go search for that term. And I'm going to go look, first of all, at the percentage of events that have had a mention of that word. Here's 21.4%. But for this upcoming correspondence dinner, it's priced at 64%. Why? Well, aside from the obvious of the stock market has just been absolutely ripping recently, if we were to go read through previous transcripts of Trump, we would find out that he has a tendency to say this word at a higher frequency around stock market pumps like the one we've just been having. Okay, the vibes are feeling a little bit more like Trump is going to say it. And actually looking at this in real time, I think 64% is probably a pretty good price to get in on this at. I would say there's closer to probably like an 85% chance that Trump's going to say this word. I would consider this expected value. And by the time this video comes out, we can see if I was right. Now, another tool that Joel mentioned that can be good to use in conjunction is going to be this one called Mentions Terminal right here. This was actually built by a friend of his. It's vibe coded, but it's cool. Now, in here, just like you could with a regular Claude instance, you can just upload transcripts manually and search through them for word frequency. But with the premium version, you can just use it to search for odds for a bunch of different speakers. They have Caroline Levitt, Mamdani, Hochul, Vance, Bernie Sanders, Trump. And I'd consider this thing like an honorable mention to add to your toolkit as well if you do want to trade, sorry, no pun intended, mentions. Now, I would be remiss if alongside this stuff, I didn't also just tell you how useful it is to use X and Truth Social. You can think of this effectively as like your notification infrastructure. Every single mentions trader I interviewed mentioned being glued to X and Truth Social. They're all following Trump on Truth Social with push notifications. They're all following the White House Press Pool X account for event scheduling to stay up to date. They're all following key reporters and other mentioned markets traders. And they're using this website to do something that is called news trading. Now, Joel gave a perfect example of doing this during his interview. There was a Trump speech with the word ballroom priced at 35 cents or 35%.
A strike was, would Trump say the word ballroom? It traded at like 35%. News broke that the Supreme Court or some court basically ruled against Trump's construction of the ballroom. If you know Trump, that's going to drive him insane. So as soon as that news breaks, I know that the fair value of ballroom should not be priced at 35 cents. It should probably be closer to 75 cents because if you know Trump, you know he is going to yell about that court ruling. So I takered, as much ballroom yes in the 30s to 40s as I could.
Because Joel was following the right accounts, he saw on X instantly with the push notification when news broke that a court ruled against Trump getting to do this ballroom construction product. Because Joel was able to see this way faster than the average person, he was able to go and immediately buy a ton of the word ballroom at just 35 cents on Kalshi, knowing that in light of this big news headline, Trump was very likely to talk about it in his next speech. Lo and behold, the odds on that thing shot immediately to 75, 80 cents right afterwards. And as a side note, this is an example of one of the few times it is actually very good to use a market buy instead of a limit buy, like we talked about earlier. If you think you have seen news break before the average person, also very importantly, guys, it's not like he was insider trading here. He saw this on Twitter. He was able to basically make free money and then 20 minutes later sell those exact same shares at 75 cents. The speed advantage, though, came from having the right notification set up on these websites. Now, this is more so, again, into sort of the vibes and intuition territory. Like, because Joel has watched a bunch of Trump speeches, he has a little bit of intuition about like, oh, if a construction project gets canceled, he'll probably talk about it. I know I keep using Trump speeches as an example, but like this would be true for if you watched a lot of sports broadcasters and were betting on those mention markets. Like, it's transferable against every form of mentions that exists. But of course, the obvious question is like, what accounts do I go follow and turn on notifications for on this website? To which I would say all of the traders that I interviewed to build this guide have public Twitter accounts, and you can literally click into and see who they are following and just like copy a bunch of their follow list. It's actually quite simple. That's the most actionable advice I could give you. And the goal is simple: to see the news before it's priced in. These are what I consider the most essential tools for mentions markets. Of course, there's more stuff inside the Discord. I know I keep saying that, but like it's where we keep all the resources. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to tools specifically for music markets, because multiple of the expert traders that we interviewed are big on music market. Music markets are contracts on things like Billboard chart positions, Spotify streaming numbers, and more. And the reason why I'm so excited to share this section is because of Brandon, who we interviewed, a full-time elementary school teacher with no finance background that has made more than his annual salary already this year trading these music markets. And also Gaten, who's made millions of dollars on Kalshi, trades music markets as well, specifically Spotify markets. So I'll walk you through some of the tools, websites, and data that they are using to get an edge in this market. Some of it you might find a little bit obvious, but I'm also going to explain how you can actually apply these things and give you examples of using it. First of which is just going to be actual public Spotify data or Spotify charts. And this is a good example of how you can use websites that everybody has access to get an edge, because people just are kind of lazy. So not a lot of people know this, but on charts.spotify.com, there's tons of public information about how songs are performing that you could already use to get an edge. And what's interesting about Spotify markets in particular in the music realm is that the data is actually a level playing field, because Apple Music, Amazon Music, and other streaming platforms all keep their data private. It gets reported to a company called Luminate, and then you can't access it, except for some traders do have access to that that, they have an unfair edge over you. All that gets factored into these Billboard Hot 100 markets, which are harder to trade than the pure Spotify markets. But Spotify data is 100% transparent. So when Gaten makes a bunch of money trading a market about will X song hit Y million Spotify streams this week, he wins not because he has better data than everyone else. He wins because he knows how to interpret it and look at it quickly. So if you click through here, there's tons of different information and charts, but how would we actually use this? Well, if we go to the music section here and find a market for song streams, the reason why probably this song Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo is such a crushing favorite for top song on weekly Top Songs USA today on Thursday is because while the weekly numbers for this week have yet to be published, if you just go to daily top songs here on Spotify, well, you can see that Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo is absolutely crushing number 2 and number 3. And if we go back a couple of days, it was doing the same on Sunday. So by simple power of deduction, we could reason that this song, given that it's the number 1 song in the world daily for the past 3 days via this transparent data, is probably going to win the weekly. So that's like a simple version of how to use data like this, but it can get much more complicated and actually give you an edge in certain scenarios. I'm telling you though, you could probably just go talk to Claude or chat for like 30 minutes and ask it for ideas of how to use this public Spotify data on Kalshi and actually devise a strategy. Another more interesting example though of public data that you could use to make accurate predictions on Kalshi Spotify markets would be literally using artists' individual web stores. And in order to show you what that actually means and like how it works, I'll walk you through an example trade that Brandon gave us. It made him $30,000. So when Bruno Mars released an album back in January of this year, there was a Kalshi market. This was for pure album sales, which has its own definition, which defines strictly traditional album purchases, okay? This means physical copies and digital album downloads on stuff like iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp. It doesn't include streaming, it doesn't include track equivalent albums, individual song sales, etc. So this means that Brandon only had 2 factors to account for, those physical copies and actual digital album downloads. And by the way Brandon made over $30,000 trading this market was by betting no on whether Bruno Mars would sell at least 90,000 albums, 95,000, 100,000, etc. because you can see that these odds were trending very, very high until the last moment. So he was able to bet against the crowd and do very well. And that was for a couple of reasons. First of all, the vibes, aka the knowledge that Brandon has about music markets from just doing this a lot, told him that Bruno Mars, while he has big singles, typically isn't like a big quote-unquote album artist.
Bruno Mars has never been an album sales giant. He's been a very singles kind of guy. All of his songs really blow up, but his albums themselves have never sold amazing.
But what Brandon was actually able to do was go to Bruno Mars official artist web store. And on here, he noticed there were a few different types and variants of the physical copies of this album that he was selling, okay? There were cassettes, CDs, vinyls, signed vinyls, and these were all produced in limited runs when the album first came out. But what he noticed was that only one of the variants, the numbered vinyls, had sold out. Then this dude, Brandon, literally went to Twitter and found a picture of a fan posting that he had bought this vinyl, and in the corner of the sealed vinyl, he saw that it was a 1 of 25,000 copy. He was like, well, this is the only thing that sold out. That's only 25,000 copies. Bruno Mars is typically a single artist. He bet no on this market, and he absolutely cooked it. And he did the same thing on the recent Ye Bully album sales because he felt like the market was pricing in fan enthusiasm, while he just went and looked at Ye's website and saw that a bunch of the albums weren't sold out. This is like simple research and napkin math that you guys can do. And of course, the vibes and the expertise layers in too. You know, Brandon talks about how fans of specific artists often have like a blind bias towards their favorites and bet on them thinking they're gonna sell more. So you're also betting against emotional counterparties.
They have a blind bias toward their favorite artists.
And another source that Brandon pointed out is really important is a website called Hits Daily Double. Now this matters because this is the actual data source that Kalshi is using to officially resolve their market. So whatever the numbers say on Hits Daily Double is the numbers that they use. So if you're betting any music markets, you need to be tracking these projections. They can give you early signals before final numbers drop. Brandon trades directly off these numbers, just something to be aware of. Now I'm gonna shift gears again and start talking about some tools that are gonna be very useful in specifically political markets. Now this has some overlap with mentions markets. A lot of those are betting on political speeches, but in our interview with Gaten, we learned about a lot of other very profitable types of political markets. Government shutdowns, Senate votes, bill passages, a little bit more niche stuff than a presidential election market, for example, which has tons of sharp money in it and people with massive algorithms that are gonna be very hard to win. Whereas if you listen to my interview with Gayton, who has made millions of dollars voting on random stuff, you'd find out his approach is almost entirely manual. He's curating a Twitter feed of reporters. He's watching a website called C-SPAN. I'll show you. He's using AI tools and he's using the vibes as well, but let's talk about some actual tools. First platform I'll shout again because I really want to drive this point home, guys, is going to be X. You need to be following reporters from Politico, from Punchbowl News, from Axios, and other wire services. You can also just go to Gayton's Twitter and see who he follows. You could probably literally just follow everybody he follows and have a pretty dialed feed. I'm pretty sure he's using his main account to follow these accounts, guys. Like it's all publicly there. Bro isn't even following me. The point is not that you have to constantly try and trade news on these accounts. It's that reading them daily is going to give you an ongoing understanding of political dynamics. I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, I don't know anything about politics. Well, the good news, you can learn a ton about it in like 2 weeks of just following accounts on Twitter. It's like the bar has never been lower to become educated enough to actually financialize niche knowledge. Gayton also talks a ton about using a website called C-SPAN. Now, is C-SPAN super boring? Yes. Is studying this website going to probably suck? Yes. Are 99.9% of the people that you're betting against in political markets not willing to go do this? Yes. Does that mean that you could probably become a really sharp trader by just spending time on C-SPAN and beat 99% of people? Yes. So if you're interested in making money, it doesn't really matter if it's boring. Gayton said specifically he watches C-SPAN to learn how political proceedings work.
A lot of that is just watching a lot of C-SPAN.
And that his $11,000 profit Save America Act trade literally just came from understanding how Senate closure rules work, which he learned on C-SPAN. He also said, and this is going to be a recurring theme at this point in the video, that he uses LLMs all the time to do research. He uses Claude and he uses ChatGPT to just ask questions about politics. I think that a lot of you watching this video are probably underestimating how much you can actually learn from just using Claude and Chat.
Just kind of, you can use AI tools to ask what's going on.
This is something that we're talking about a lot inside the Asymmetric Discord. So if you want to learn more about it, feel free to join and just talk to some of our most active community members. It gets deep. Now, another important category of trading on Kalshi that I want to cover tools for is going to be something called arbitrage. Obviously, I've already spoken about this earlier in this video, but what's interesting is that Logan, who has now made almost $1 million trading Kalshi in under a year, specifically said he started his prediction market career before he was good at actually predicting directional outcomes and doing a bunch of research by doing cross-market arbitrage.
Initially, I think I just did some cross-exchange arbs between Kalshi and Poly.
Which is the exact same argument that I was trying to make to you guys earlier in this full beginner's guide. Arbitrage is just giving you an opportunity to literally extract money from these markets by just taking advantage of mispricings, almost like a glitch in the system, while you learn to sharpen your edge. And it's gonna allow you to build your bankroll while you get an edge and learn to actually size up your directional bets. And with the ability to literally just go sort by all the most profitable arbitrages available right now in these markets, you don't really have an excuse. And on top of that, the ARBS tool just gives you notifications straight to your phone for the biggest ones. So you can click one button and capture the spread. I literally got pinged last night for a 53% arbitrage. 53% arbitrage. I could have squeezed out $703 profit on less than $1,400 down. The reason why I launched this and I'm putting my full backing behind this is because after spending a decade in the online make money space, I have never seen an opportunity this crazy that you literally don't even have to be skilled to do. If you don't believe me, go try it. There's a link beneath this video. We have an entire section of the ARBS community fully dedicated to this thing. We're adding features every single day. And honestly, guys, the community results using it thus far speak for themselves. I want you guys to use this because I know you'll win using it. And when you win using it, it's gonna make us grow. We actually built an amazing product. So yada yada, links below this video. Go try it out. But actually, beyond everything else that we've talked about, the most important tool that you are going to have at your disposal, the one that was listed by every single millionaire trader that I interviewed was
Community.
community. They didn't say it was kind of helpful. They didn't say it was a nice bonus. They said it was essential.
Taking me kind of from like Chud to Chad.
Logan said being in Discord calls with other traders is one of only 2 things that you need to become profitable. The pattern is universal, and there is, I promise you, no better prediction markets community in the world to be in than Asymmetric, which is ours, which is growing by hundreds of people per day, which is supported by the prediction market platforms themselves, which is full of daily live streams where you can actually come and meet and talk to myself and other expert traders on the team, which has dedicated discussions for every major type of market on prediction markets. An entire section for arbs.xyz tool, an entire section dedicated to copy trading and good wallets to copy trade, different tools, insider trackers, all being updated every single day for you guys. And if you join our Discord, you will meet me. As a matter of fact, if you click underneath this video, join the Discord and tag me in chat, I'll probably see it within the next like 5 minutes, which is why I don't feel bad telling you guys like a million times in this video to go join that thing. You can go lurk, you can go read what experienced traders are saying about live markets. You can share your own ideas and theses with other people that are neck deep in these markets actually making money. When big events are happening, mention markets, we're trading them together live on stream. We're live stream trading almost every single day. I am pouring my heart and soul into this to try and make you guys better traders of what I consider the most interesting emerging market in the world. And if you made it this far in the video, which is probably like 1% of people, you also probably consider very interesting. But the thing is about the Discord or even all of these tools is that they really mean nothing if you don't use them in conjunction with what every trader we interviewed calls vibes. Now, what these guys really mean when they say vibes is just expertise that you combine with the data that you get from tools in order to find expected value in these markets. So how do you dial in your vibes and become profitable outside of using those tools and being in our Discord? Well, first off, vibes isn't just guessing, it's pattern recognition from hours of exposure to these markets. Joel watches like every single Trump stream. You have to spend time studying your market of choice. There's really no way around that. And it doesn't have to be mentions, by the way. You don't have to go bet on Trump speeches, even though we keep talking about them. That just happens to be the market of choice for a lot of very profitable traders that we spoke to, so take that for what you will. But to continually use the mentions example, you have to realize that context changes your entire vibe for any market, meaning that the data you get from those tools that we just mentioned can mean completely different things depending on the situation. And this came up in almost every interview. Loxy broke it down most clearly. So in mention markets, a lot of these guys are trading Trump speeches, and what he pointed out is that Trump often says different things in different rooms, like literal locations where he's giving his speeches.
What room the speech is going to be is very important to someone like Trump. If it's going to be in the Oval Office versus the East Room, he says different things. He's in different moods. What's going on with the news, what type of questions he could get from reporters.
And to contextualize it for you, Joel actually gave the perfect example about a contract for Trump saying the word transgender at his State of the Union speech, which was actually in the video I did with Joel, which was actually, I found out today, featured on John Oliver's show that gets like tens of millions of views, which is super funny. Transgender hit on that market because the data and vibes told us that it likely would, but in another recent Trump speech where transgender was at 80% odds, Joel was able to bet no for a quick 5x.
Transgender was priced at 80% for him to say it at State of the Union, but he actually didn't say it, which blew a lot of people's minds. But think about it. This is a primetime address to the world. Surprisingly here, he decided against it. So
that's a scenario where you could have actually had taking no on that would have been crazy. That's
yeah.
a 5x in simple math. And if you had just looked on the mention markets tool that I showed you a couple of minutes ago, then it would have confirmed that he says it about 80% of the time, and you would have thought that's accurate. There's no real EV to be found there. However, this was a primetime address to the whole nation with lawmakers in attendance, which you would have found out by just using those X accounts that I told you to follow earlier, like a few minutes ago. So after seeing this, Joel's instinct, his vibes that he's formed by following these accounts for a long time, told him that Trump might just hold his tongue in this instance due to who was in the audience. And guess what? He didn't say it. A pure data approach would have had you buying yes at 80 cents and losing everything, but the vibes gave Joel a clean 5x. Ultimately, what you need to understand with any Kalshi market is the data gives you a baseline. The vibes tell you when the baseline is wrong. The data would tell us that on this Trump speech starting in 30 minutes, the odds likely are about 65% for him to use the word Iran just based on the past couple months of his speeches. But the vibes in the Asymmetric Discord right now are a little bit uncertain. We'll see how it plays out. I think Loxy said it best when he said he basically just runs like a whole situation room all the time. He's got news from the New York Times,
Situation room,
Twitter, Truth Social. He's in Discord communities all running simultaneously. And the reason why this is all so cool, by the way, is because you can actually become one of the sharpest prediction markets traders in the world by using basic tools and catching a vibe in a Discord server. Really. And I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, but the edge is gonna go away and all the big money's gonna come in. But you have to understand, and Joel said it best in our interview, it's gonna be really hard for institutional money, for hedge funds to come in and model what an actual human being like Trump is gonna say in his speeches. It's contextual, it requires vibes, it requires experience, it requires human psychology that can't be automated. That's why we can win. And because this stuff is so new, you can still go become one of the best human judges of it in the world and make, at least according to the people that I interviewed, a lot of money doing it.
Made about $750,000, most of that being in the last 7 months.
I have made $160,000.
I've made about 270K in the past year on Kalshi. This year, so far, 2026, I've made about 175K so far.
Currently, I'm like 90K.
$545,000.
So go out there, find the vibes, use your brains, use these tools, and get paid for it. But what I want to do now is go ahead and summarize the 5 most important rules that you need to remember to go build an edge in these markets, and I'm going to give them to you in order of operations and the actions you need to take. Let's go. 1, pick one niche and go deep. Don't try to trade everything. Every single profitable trader I interviewed, excluding one, trades basically one type of market. Find a topic you already care about the most, something you'd be reading about or watching anyway, and make that your market, because the edge comes from caring more than the person on the other side of your bet, because that's what's gonna make you willing to go the extra mile. 2, build your data baseline before you ever put down a single dollar. If you're trading mentions, go pull up Roll Call or mentionmarkets.com and study the last 10 or 20 relevant transcripts, put them into Claude, start talking to a little bit, get some projections, take those projections, use the little bit of knowledge that you might already have about Trump or any politicians, and try and go accurately predict some mentions without actually putting down a single dollar and see what your hit rate is. If you're trading music like Brandon, go look at some of the Spotify data that we talked about, try and make some predictions, see what your hit rate is. The goal is to learn to develop your own sense of what the fair price should be for any given contract before you even look at what the Kalshi price is. Then 3, start betting small, track everything, and prove to yourself that you actually have an edge before you size up.
Start really small, because I made so many dumb errors. I made those dumb errors at a cost of a maximum of $850, whereas right now there is no maximum. So if you mess up something, it can be a very expensive lesson now. So you've kind of got to take control of the bet sizing on your own until you get good at it and you start to size up.
Every single trader I interviewed said this independently of one another. Loxy started with $10 bets and was negative for 6 months. Logan deposited just $1,000 and traded that for 6 months before depositing more. Joel started with less than 10 grand. You need to start with an amount that you genuinely do not care about losing. Use these tools and your vibes to start trading very small amounts of money in spots where your projected number is significantly greater than the price of the contract that you see on screen. See if you're right over 20, 30, 50 trades. Don't be reckless, don't be dumb. And then if you're consistently identifying mispricings correctly, you can start to size up. And when it comes time to size your bets, you can use something called the Kelly criterion calculator. This is used by almost every single trader that I interviewed in this video. 4, you also need to go and find traders to challenge your thinking. Once you are starting to form your views on markets, you need people to challenge those views. Loxy literally said joining a Discord server and finding people to tell him when he is wrong is the biggest thing that took him from losing money for half a year straight and literally getting roasted by Kalshi employees to becoming profitable almost $100,000. If other traders agree with your thesis, well, it might be better. Maybe you should size up. If everybody thinks you're wrong, well, maybe you should rethink your thesis. You can't do this alone. You need to join a Discord community. You need to get in live stream calls. You need to see other profitable traders and how they think. And then 5, layer in the vibes the longer you trade. Because after you've spent hours studying data and running test trades, you're gonna start to notice notice things. Eventually, after a while of trading mentions, you might start to think things like, oh wow, Trump's in a mood today. He's definitely gonna say something about that court ruling and you're gonna size up that bet. You might look at an album release, think fans are delusional about this one. There's no way it'll hit those numbers. That instinct is vibes. That is what you're going to learn over time. You are not gonna leave this video and have some crazy innate sense of how to beat the market on every trade, so you're gonna need to use data first. You have to earn it. You can't skip through steps 1 through 4, but you will get the vibes going and you will become a great trader if you actually commit to the process. And that, ladies and gentlemen, however many hours deep we are into this video, is how you build an edge in prediction markets. Look, if you've made it this far in the video, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, thank you. And also, first of all, congratulations. Because believe it or not, you are now in the top 1% of the world as far as knowledge in prediction markets goes. That's how much of a gap there is. You are literally equipped to become world class. But if you don't put the work in, that means nothing, which is why I'm not going to just leave you hanging. I want to give you some real next steps, which are: 1, join our community. If you leave this video and go try and rough it on your own, you're straight up just going to have a bad time. You're probably going to lose money for a while. You're going to end up quitting and squandering the opportunity. That's just the God's honest truth. But if you stick around in our community, 1, we're going to hold you accountable. 2, you're going to have access to not only daily streams, lessons, and trading picks on this market. 3, you're going to be around world-class traders. But most importantly, you're going to go find a community, and in some cases, a family almost. I can't tell you how many people have joined our Discord community on a whim and built lifelong relationships, or even ended up working directly with me and the team. I promise you it's going to make a huge difference. 2, go get fully set up and deposit it. Do it now. Take the 5 minutes to create a Kalshi account and deposit even just $50 or $100 and start taking some trades. There's absolutely no replacement for getting some skin in the game. It is going to make you actually care. It's going to make you actually start doing this. And if you don't take action now while you're watching this, you probably never will. 3, start building your bankroll using the tools that I recommended in the middle of this video. ARBs in particular, for the reasons I just outlined, is going to be your best friend here, because you don't even need an edge, and you don't even need to be an expert to use it. It's gonna allow you to pull profit out of these markets and learn a lot about them in the process. The link for that is below this video. 4, on top of that, commit to building a real edge in these markets. Going and watching those full interviews that I did with those traders is going to help, but it's still not going to be enough. You need to go pick a niche and follow as close as you can to the steps that I cited in our how to build an edge section. It's going to be a journey, but now is the time to do it, because like I said, this opportunity won't last forever. You have to understand how insane it is that right now you can find 15% edges in this market.
But 50% is pretty good. So if you really, really do believe that that edge is strongly 15% and you believe that's your biggest edge in the entire mention market overall, you should size your position accordingly.
And the top traders will tell you that's not even that big. Like, guys, professional sports bettors are dying to find a 2% edge. On Kalshi right now, regular people, school teachers, dads from Minnesota are finding edges so big it would make a Wall Street trader's head spin. And the only reason why, literally, is because these markets are so new that people trading on them have no idea what they're doing. That will not last. Every single trader I interviewed said the same thing unprompted, which is that that window is closing, sharps are entering, bankrolls are getting bigger. 6 months ago, the top mentions trader were trading with $200,000 total. Now they're trading with like $1 million on these markets. And the more money that flows into these markets, the harder it's going to be to build an edge. The time to learn this stuff is not next year when everybody in every hedge fund is already here. It is now, while you can still be a nobody with a laptop. And I say with a laptop because Gayton, the multimillionaire trader we interviewed, literally does all this off of a singular laptop. He doesn't even have a monitor. But you can be a nobody with a laptop and a genuine interest and turn that into real money. And I hope this video and all the resources that I've given you thus far helps you do that. Oh, and one last thing. If you made it this far in the video, I'm going to flash a keyword on screen right now. Go drop a comment using that word inside of a sentence. Don't just go comment the word in a funny or clever way for a chance to win $1,000. I want to give back to the people who actually care to watch all the way through my stuff. I've spent like a month plus of my life on this video. It's crazy. How this video took so long, I literally moved. And I grew my hair out, dude. I hope you can feel the love that I put into this video. And if you can, please drop a subscribe on the channel, drop a like on this video, a comment, bookmark it, send it to your mom, well, maybe not your mom, your cousin, and show some love in the comments. Anyway, guys, Champ here, signing off. As always, I love ya. And until next time, peace.